What's up, stream chat? We are currently hanging out in the general voice channel in Discord for the DLC Discord. You can feel free to join and react vocally live if you want. Just, you know, be nice. We got a bunch of people here. We got 5 more minutes until the deadline. I'm still getting the stream a little ready. In the meantime, vote in that map poll. That should be pinned, right? If it's not, I'll pin it again.
It is pinned.
And there it is, not pinned. Outpinged. Like that 33-second rodent ping. Was there another bop in that challenge? Rodent Yoko?
So far.
Are they frame tied still?
Yet. They're still tied, yeah. As far as I know. 5 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm muted so you don't have to hear me mashing.
Idle grinding lavender last seconds.
And Duskid keeps giving me the refresh to continue updating.
I mean, there are like a billion replays streaming in at this point, so. Grinds right to the end.
There are a lot going in right now.
I had to set a new world record on the Pogo.
Hey,
Got the sub 50 43, which was my goal, even though it wasn't a particularly, polished run. Could probably save another second if I really grinded it like for a lot more time, but I got a run I'm slightly happier with, so.
love to see it.
I mean, if it's gonna be shown on stream, then it has to be like at least a little decent, you know? So how many levels are called Desert?
Hello.
There's actually not
Welcome.
that many.
That's the only one that called Desert.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised. I thought it might have been like a Xanda thing, like Tower.
No, but close enough. That was part of the naming.
Should have called it like
Yoko, you're a beast.
40.8.
Dude. You're a beast, my guy.
Let's go. GG's, Rodent.
And GG's, that's one hell of a run.
I'm so mad that we framed that. I was about to like tag you, and then I was like, wait a second. I think I screamed in the Kappa crew chat.
Are all of the challenges that are manual updated? I need that to be correct right now.
Yeah, I'm going through it now.
All right, well, I don't want to run the script after the deadline, so try to get that finished too.
I guess I'll
Not
vote
to
on the
interrupt
poll.
pop off, but it needs to be right.
Yeah, it should be right.
Cool. All right, running the update script one more time.
Alright.
Leaderboards are
GG
locked.
fishies.
This game sucks.
This game looks cool.
I feel for you. I watched you grind for the last 5 hours.
Very good.
Dude, I really think it would have been more productive to grind for like an hour with an hour off 3 times. This shit sucks.
All right, challenges
who finished
swinging
this
in the
level?
direction of Chipotle at the end there, despite the invert bop at the end by Yoko. Are the boss mode low percent ones correct too? Those ones went back and forth, I remember.
I think Mitesh should be in the lead there.
We got Mitesh in first and DCBC in first in the other. Just double check them, and if they're wrong, let me know. And we can just manually change the scores. But it shouldn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter for team points. If anything's wrong. It is that close for challenges right now.
Yep.
But good job to everybody. I need to do a little bit of stuff, so give me a moment. Everything's a little bit. I got stuff to do for unhiding replays and all that. So yeah, how'd it go? How'd you guys like round 1?
Good. I was a little busy this week, but when I got to grinding, I had a blast.
I'm a kid main now.
A lot of Kappa Canopy replays I gotta scroll through right there.
See that?
Also a lot of Lavender replays at the end. Quantum, unfortunately not getting 2 more frames back, but putting up a good fight. All the replays should be fine now. But to do a quick browse through the leaderboards, we got Fishy with 4 of the records. Maso managed to get 2 of them. Camel got Stormful Harmony, defending the map that he uploaded. Quantum Coral going back and forth a little with Fishy in the final days. We had action on every leaderboard. As for the team points, Chipotle did pull ahead at the end. These went back and forth a lot yesterday, especially because of the challenges. These are all very close point totals. But it's only round 1, so you know, Chipotle ending up with a slightly bigger lead is not going to seem as big when it comes down to round 3. Because the team points, it goes up every round per category. Not by much, but you know, there's a little inflation in the world. We got to have some of that in DLC too. I gotta update these chat messages. Let's see what those were at. Discord not remembering it searching for things. 44.36 in Chipotle.
Chipotle!
Streamer mode does not like this. It's kind of annoying. Idle or Rodent, can I just read off these numbers to you? I have too many windows open. Is one of you here? Rodent's muted.
Yeah, I can do that. 1 second. Alright, yeah, go ahead.
Alright, wildlife is 1227. V ceilings is 2733. Kappa crew is 2311. And all the challenges were correct? You double check those?
Yes.
Alright. It always takes a few minutes to wrap up on my end.
Wesley with the late frame tie with heavy on presumably Technique stock. I'm assuming that's what that is.
Yeah. Stuck no dash.
Oh
You
god.
got an actual frame tie at the end.
Yep.
Wazzy did, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
What was the thing I needed to get? Oh. Sorry, I'm doing some of this stuff live. I got delayed like pretty unexpectedly right before stream started.
Poor Wazzy. Poor Avenged. Thank you both for contributing to our team's challenge point.
Okay. There's that.
Screw you, JVC.
Hey, I gave you a challenge point. I guess gave isn't the right word, but I lost one to you.
I'm forgetting something, but I don't remember what.
Unhide replays, ghosts, update the sheet.
I did that. There's just something missing in what I was doing. But I guess I'll find out later. And then regret it. Alright, so let's get into some of this stuff a little bit more. Let me I don't have enough windows for this to reference everything. This I have a new document for the recap, and it's just not good enough. I think I gotta redo it a different way next time. There's just too much info in DLC.
Anyone who hasn't already done so, fill out the map poll.
Windows somehow not cooperating. Alright, so in Desert, I gotta, hold on. I just have to set up my stream in a different way so I actually can do this without needing to click around so much. So I'm just not gonna have the chat up. If anyone says anything in chat, then let me know. I just
On it.
I can't have it on my window, or I can't have it. I can't have the space for it on my screen.
I will be actively watching it.
I also have this. So hopefully this is safe to watch on stream. I didn't look at it earlier.
It should
I
be.
got some memes coming out.
You know what I love about tacos?
What's that? Everything.
I was thinking tacos and nachos.
Well, that sounds good to me. What do you think, Peter?
I just arrived in my pants. That night, we all ate tacos and nachos that were so good, we stood and cheered. We were the envy of the neighborhood.
Here, Joe. Barely thawed trout and white rice.
This trout's the lucky one. It's over for him.
What's that, Joe?
Thanks, Bond. Looks terrific.
What if this could change the world?
A burrito.
Yeah. It can.
Backfit this together.
But it can SSJ, huh?
You are so weird.
Why were you like walking like a fucking robot?
I'm eating, that's why. I'm sorry.
Oh, what you eating?
Chipotle, don't kill me.
Wait.
Breaking news. Instead of helping his team win DLC, Dustforce runner Fims of Team Wildlife Wranglers decided to watch tits instead. Kappa crew leader Arbitrary Asian was spotted in a Cybertruck. After these pictures surfaced, Tesla founder Elon Musk tweeted this.
That's slander, yo.
Strange creatures spotted on the grounds of Atlas. They are identified by their ramblings about V-ceilings, which would also explain their distinct head shape. Long-lost Meatball runners Snow, Shadex and Bag are reunited under Team Chipotle for DLC 7. Dustman-sized burritos now available at Chipotle.
Cool. Good job to Bag.
This is very high effort.
Yeah.
It was fire. I was supposed to make something to go along with it, but I let the team down.
Amazing.
Top tier captaining.
Also, if someone notices that I'm dropping frames, let me know. This is I got a slightly different internet connection, so it should be a lot better. But I might have to lower bitrate again, like it used to be. I'm very organized stream, as you can see. That should be okay. Alright, in Desert, Let's see. We started off DLC with 3 pre-made levels again. Desert, a rare map that I made, was the long one. Worst double points, double invert keys, double keys in general. We got 46 people qualified for gold, including Heavy got it by the frame. That was a 109 requirement. Red 1 was 103, and this was one of the more popular red keys. Most of the reds kind of ended up in like 10 to 20 people getting them, so a decent amount harder than DLC 6. I'd say a bit similar in difficulty to DLC 5, which had some harder reds, but I think people are getting better. So let's watch some of these replays. I'm gonna watch a few at a time. Are there any challenges around here? I don't know how good those Avention Rodent early ones are, by the way. I can't actually click on all these links, by the way, for Rodent or Idle, whoever's watching.
Meat and Rodent had an early deadline.
Yeah.
Competition on this one.
I don't think those are your PBs. There's just a lot of replays. Well, let's get started with what a gold key required.
Idles is fixing.
On some game music. I mean, I can click on the links. It's just I don't have the screen space, so it's hard for me to use this unless I've clicked on all of the links before I've started the stream, and I'm not gonna click on all of those. Yeah, I'll talk with you after the fact. You know, I kind of lost 20 minutes of prep time right before we started. I mean, the numbers by the names are kind of helpful for who's in challenges, but stuff like early deadline, I'm not gonna click on all that kind of stuff, or like who got the first thing, like I said. You know, I kind of have to filter what ones I plan to click in this huge list, but it's helpful.
109 the gold time here?
Yep. That was what was required. Let's click on a few people from...
Dello didn't quite get it.
Yeah. Well, let's see what's around for other characters. Maybe a Kid Run. I don't think that's Quantum's PB. But not a kind of level you're gonna expect to play other characters on.
Yep, this was effectively man or girl. And most people just played man.
Alright, I'm gonna load up a few replays at the same time. Oh, look at that huge lead at the start. I'm gonna do this and then we'll watch more of them in groups. Some people in the lower golds. You can kind of get a feel for you know, how to do the longer levels, a little preview of what some of the faster strats will be. See some mistakes here and there.
There's some strats in this.
Certainly are.
imagine you'll see
Ooh.
some teams' good strategies for parts of all of these gold runs, basically.
Yeah, we're gonna see bits and pieces until they're executed really well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
I definitely did not consider that.
I don't know if I like half of these strats.
I know I don't like a lot of them.
These strats are trash. The dash jump before the second cluster of prisms, though, was really neat. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I don't know if it was fast, but it was cool.
Yeah, so now we're starting to approach
Yeah, we're in we're looking at some gold 3s next.
high golds, going into almost red territory
People
here.
just missing out on top 20.
Was it a 103 or 102?
103 for red, yeah.
Okay.
Eesh.
Snow managed to get all the gold keys, helping out Chipotle at the end.
Snow came in clutch. Dello got some woods and said that it was too hard and he couldn't PB anymore. Miles skipping the ledge cancel. That was probably wise for him.
So a lot of the decision making in Desert has to do with one, how are you going to get all these boosts, all these little boosts that add up, and two, how are you going to handle the prisms for attacking? Because sometimes you can double them up. A lot of the prisms are kind of paired up. You can light or, well, you can light then heavy, or you can just do one heavy a lot of the time. So lots of kind of micro decisions, but in a long map, which makes it kind of challenging. And also not that much dust, so a pretty challenging level casually. That was the plan from the start. No dying, but not much dust to keep it doable.
The map was gaslighting me. It took me a while to realize that some of the dust appeared late.
Yeah, I also did not notice that like any of my runs until I forgot who was streaming. Someone was streaming it in our VC, pointed out that dust was spawning after it was off screen. And I was like, wait, what?
All right, here we
I was
have,
just like, wait, how is this here?
2 out of 3 of these people ended up getting red key. Red key was 103.0. Looking like it's not going to be Duck. But Duck managing to play a little bit before round 1 ended.
Yeah, always good to see Duck.
Yeah, didn't expect to see him in round 1, but got Desert Red, mini spoiler.
Yeah, because we've got the butter seats.
We just need to add sleeping bag pictures to the scoreboard so we can quantify Duck's impact on this round.
True.
There are a handful
one
of
big
little
heavy there.
details in Desert too, like like this dust that you don't really notice until you start watching replays. You guys might notice there's some stuff going on with the sun on the right side of the screen at the end. It's moving very slowly. Kind of like Park. Instead of going to sunset, we're going to sunrise. Lots of little things like that in Desert. Bamboo getting a red key. Some people haven't heard of Bamboo before. We're a bit surprised to see a new name getting a red. Always good to see.
Let's go Bamboo!
Magna Peach is up there too in terms of newer players getting reds. Indipop, technically a newer player to DLC, not usually as active getting reds.
Very big technically there. 'Cause I think he has actually been in every DLC technically.
Yeah, but this is the first time he's done it a little more seriously. Always good to see.
Oh, speaking of Bamboo in chat. Hello.
We had
Hi,
a
Bamboo.
four-way, or we had a challenge between Indipop and JVC.
That could be a different Bamboo.
And
chat.
yeah, it could be. And then we had a four-way challenge between Nighthawk, Alex, Sheila, and Idol. And there was some action in the final days for that one too. While I'm jumping into the ceiling.
Very cool.
But in the middle of the pack, what else is cool on Desert? The prisms are different. Some people might have noticed that one. It's one of those kinds of things that you actually can't unsee when you see it. When you look.
Yeah,
hard
is that a
enough at the
custom
prism.
asset or is it just some aesthetic effect?
It is a custom sprite.
Okay. I was
yeah.
trying to figure out if there was a way to even do that with just like color changes and whatnot. I was like, it's gotta be custom,
Yeah.
right?
I guess to show it off quickly, there's a script on here called Prism Glow, which you can use on other maps. It's not without like being specialized a little bit. And then you also see this these red squares, this red rectangle for where extra dust shows up later.
Yeah.
What could it mean?
We know what it means. Gaslight dust. Would you even hit it on the way to the left? If it was there like the whole time?
Depending on how you did
wouldn't
it.
have been hit.
Yeah, not in normal, not in like boost team. If you
But
have
I didn't want
boost
people
team,
to attack it.
You just didn't want people to make mistakes.
Yeah, I didn't want people to see it and then attack it and be like, "Wow, what happened? This was weird."
Why did I lose combo here? I played the game correctly.
Also, I wasn't even gonna have dust there originally. You don't need dust to combo. But I think I have said that I do plan to release another version of Desert because I didn't actually finish the art. It is kind of rushed, and I'll probably have a little bit less dust for fun, make it a little harder while we're at it, make it a little more like it was originally intended. Why is it going all the way to the wall? You like to see it. Doing the semi-intended looking strats, even if I never actually did that myself. Doing the gold key strats.
Wazzy says swag.
Yeah, but taking the lead. All these players sitting in gold too.
Whoa, hello.
Getting
what?
the full Nelson. No half Nelsons from Wazzy. I think that's the way it goes, right? The full speed is the full Nelson, the slope, or
I think
flipping
so.
back.
Maybe.
For those of you unaware, there's a kind of tech in the game called Nelsons. I don't know how it originated, how people came about finding it or anything. Well, I mean, finding it's not that hard. How people how it came about, but either way, Indipop at some point released a map called Half Nelson, and one later called Nelson, I think, showing off the tech in only the way that Indipop map could. And that basically means a run killer in random map app.
What the?
Yeah, Tess put a lot of time into grinding this.
Yep.
This round.
I was more questioning a strat.
Perhaps a sign of things to come. Who knows?
Losing a lot of speed there. But bringing it back. So what a Nelson is when you jump at the edge of the platform, you know, you're kind of edge canceling, or in this case, slope jumping backwards when you have a lot of speed going up a slope. So that's what commonly is going on in a lot of these replays. At those parts. The double back parts. JVC winning the Into Pop challenge. Doing a light on that dust. Missing a dash jump and then dash jumping.
Like classic.
We see an up heavy. Some strats being normalized between teams. We see where Tess took the lead a bit. JVC and Tess synced up for a while in the middle. JVC losing it over here. His speed and his mind.
I honestly had no idea what my PB looked like. Wait, JVC is bald? Why aren't more people talking about this?
Plant playing a few levels pretty hard for Team V ceilings. Was this actually a Plant Wazi challenge level? Was this the one?
I don't know. Yes, no, it was on Rubble. Rubble Boost.
Rubble Boost, alright. Well, good for Wazi here at least.
Yeah. Well, less bad in any case.
So far, Plant's just hard out executing with worse strats like everywhere. That's impressive.
Fewer mistakes. In a minute-long level, that's what counts. But just shy of sub 1.
Sub 1 couldn't be possible.
What is it?
Absolutely impossible. All these replays are just illusions.
Yeah, the illusions are gone now. Got to clear them off a little bit at a time.
I'm very surprised with a couple strats.
Arbin Sheila are back-to-back here, 4th and 5th, both on Kappa Crew. We have a little bit of an all-star in terms of team representation in the top 4 here. One from each team in the top 4. That's something you like to see. A little rough on some dashes at the end, but clean overall.
Yeah, I had like an AS that was like around a .3 here. I just never got back to getting a run because there were other boards to clean up. a lot of stuff to do this DLC.
Unfortunately for Sheila, she held record for only about 20 minutes a couple days ago. And was quickly bopped in a challenge.
Still counts.
Both Sheila and Idol grinding for like 5 hours at the same time. Both ended up getting their PBs around the same time. But yeah, this was a world record one, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was when she said it, yeah.
There were 2 PBs in that time frame from Sheila. Not sure the order of...
One of them was definitely world record.
Yep. This one was record for about 3 minutes until Idle got this PB.
Oh yeah, sorry, Idle just said that in chat.
According to
I should've read that.
Yep.
Got a little bit different boosting. Since the top 4 on different teams, we're likely to see a little variety of strats. But a lot of the time, people tend to find the same right answer, which we'll see a little bit more of on the other levels. Desert being so long is gonna be more spread out. More mistakes. Now, Idle losing a lot of time there. But a slightly better boost in the middle.
I think on really long maps, people resort to comfort a lot too, just because you won't throw away runs.
Yep. And that's why the keys were positioned where they were. In terms of quality required for red, Desert arguably the easiest, but it's very hard to be that fast for over a minute. Therefore, it's still pretty tough. And Idle with a good ending. But Camel not to be outdone. Also wanted the record. Despite being outdone later by Fishy.
I have a suspicion that Camel's gonna lose a lot of time in the boost. The
Yeah,
long
you think
boost
Camel
section.
throws somewhere?
I think Camel throws.
Camel in the lead by more than the time difference so far. What will happen? Not by much though, just little time losses.
Yeah, losing a little bit in that boost.
Yeah, gonna get a bad ADB angle, it looks like.
Better middle section. Pretty good ceiling boost. Pretty quick attacks. What's gonna happen?
Okay.
Looks like it's coming down to these final boosts.
Yeah, I pulled down a lot of the end.
Not bad, but only second place. Probably wouldn't have been enough to deal with Fishy. But let's see how this compares. Fishy doing a lot of the routing work on wildlife wranglers. Back in DLCs 2 and 3, caught a little bit more flack for the routing decisions and hasn't been able to live it down, but since then he's very clearly stepped up as also very good at routing.
I miss the routing from early DLCs where Fishy would just get world record with atrocious routing.
Camel in the lead a little. But what's gonna happen? Fishy with the Nelson.
Yo, the Nelson.
Oh wow.
And a different ending than anyone else.
Oh,
A
that's
little bit
actually
different.
sick.
Some cooler attacks to throw in there.
I was finding pretty much everything was very
Check out Fishy's
comparable at
one
the
more time.
ending.
And then on all of the leaderboards, we have some low tads from ARP.
Well, all the main map leaderboards anyway.
Yeah, the leaderboards. Anything with a standard key. But Fishy with some cool different strats. Definitely throwing some style points in there. Different ideas from wildlife wranglers. You can kind of see where he and Camel go back and forth.
Yeah, very cool push and pull there.
Alright. Beating the sun. But what does ARB do? With tools. Nice little fit boost right at the start. You got a short hop ADB.
Oh.
Whoa.
Better ledge cancels.
Ooh.
A little low boost. Still doing that strat. Three attacks, a little tail dash going on. There's a low boost in that section too. Another one.
I was trying to do that.
It is super hard.
That one's really hard.
Yeah.
Ledge cancel before that.
I considered suggesting it to Camel, and I was like, who am I kidding? This.
I'm also doing the short hop side heavy. Alright, more normal ending compared to some other people.
Wow.
All the other ghosts shooting by on the way back.
Yeah.
It's a
Good
bit
job to
fast.
everybody here. Alright. For the invert and the invert plus, we had a first time category appearance from boss mode low percent in DLC. It was the first time we've been able to do this on a level, and it was a surprisingly good fit. There's not much dust and there are no spikes on desert, so everywhere you land, it's a little bit problematic. So I thought that was particularly funny. You could have your like I'm spilling dust everywhere moments, and they made for a good bounty. So what ended up happening was 70 dust was the requirement for invert, and 40 dust was the invert plus. Big Diesel ended up winning both categories in the
Let's
bounty.
go.
Yeah,
So
big
good
shout
job
out to
to
Kappa.
him. Kappa crew got some good challenge points in there.
You guys were quick.
Dang.
Nah, you were just slow.
Who got second and third in that one?
I got third.
Yeah, Wildlife Wranglers and Chipotle splitting the second and thirds for invert and invert plus. There was also a challenge between Cow and Fishy here, and we'll get to some of that later. But first, let's see what was required for
25, bro.
Yeah.
Let's watch A Boss's invert plus run.
Wait.
Oh, interesting.
Do I actually have a?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Do I have a replay from someone really failing this? By the way, I like to show the struggle, as some of you know. So you know this looks good, and this is also a character we're not gonna see much, because it's not the easiest character for the
Yeah, I was
category.
about to say the shocking slime boss pick.
Yeah. But I want to show what it was really like for people when the bounty started. So every dust that you spread from landing is going to be counted towards the dust spread in this category. Any dust that, when you attack a surface, is created unnecessarily, that also obviously counts. Normally, levels cause dust spread when you attack enemies. You hit them with heavies, like the big prisms. That was turned off for desert, and normally that's actually a strategy in boss low percent. Creating a lot of extra dust there. But sometimes it's hard. Showing a few ways to dodge creating dust, but I see a little bit here and there. You know, could have saved a little bit everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
there
pretty
was-
impressed they managed to get a 40
Yeah,
with
very good.
Yeah, that's
slime
crazy.
boss.
Yeah.
You want to show Hasty's run? Alright, let's see what happens.
Idle linked one and said or rank 36. Yeah.
Yeah, presumably the same run.
So yeah, every time you land, that's like 3 or 4 extra dust.
Whoa! already just.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. It goes everywhere.
Wait. This can't possibly be. Yeah.
This is not
this is the struggle.
Oh yeah, this is like 100 spread dust or something. Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah, trying to minimize it a little bit, but no, this is not an easy category. Any little mistake, that's just like +3, +4.
Yeah.
This
So,
is one of
what-
those invert keys where you like get halfway through and then do something irreparable.
Ooh.
Then you go back
Plus
45
8.
seconds.
No.
Those big down heavies.
Oh my god.
So yeah, when that invert was revealed, there were some teams going through these struggles in that bounty. It was fun to see how hectic it was.
Yeah, Magma Peach. Yep.
Oh
That's
gosh.
killing.
Getting it down to 70 wasn't easy, but several people did end up doing it. This one, I think, was about in the middle as far as completions were concerned for inverts. This one had a little bit less than the normal invert total, so a little bit tougher of an invert. Let's see, what do you think, JBC or Camel? Which one's the one to watch?
Oh, between the two, probably mine.
Alright.
But Magma Peach didn't last.
Yeah, but we're gonna watch other teams that did it even less than that. I'm not gonna
CBC's
show
isn't
all
using
these.
Magma Peach says.
Yeah, I'm basically gonna skip to the top of the leaderboard after this one.
Yeah.
You know, no reason to worry too much about all the placements in an invert key. That's kind of the point. There's some kind of little achievement to do.
So that's my
Going
first
back to save.
accident.
Yeah, little mistake.
Yeah, +1 on the accident count.
I think we had a 35 route, but I wasn't going for a strat or two. So I had like 2 dust wiggle room or something like that.
And this was also worth points in the end. This was the run that did it.
Yes, this was. I didn't replay it.
Got a boost.
So we knew about the wall strat. I didn't trust myself, so
You can afford a little
You
extra
guys really do
boost.
love twirlies.
You just
I told you.
just spread like 3 extra dust. Just
Hey, it's all you need for an invert plus. you
And
wanna- that was a cool
this
strat
was the
also.
this was the big oopsies moment where I was
Uh-oh.
like, oh fuck. I spread an
Oh,
extra one.
okay.
Yeah.
JVC
and then-
panicking live.
I'm like, okay, I guess I need to do the wall strat that I don't fully know how it works.
Yeah,
Nice
I'll show that
jump.
later. How exactly it works. And then clutching it out.
yeah.
Yeah, at that point we were literally, I was like, how much can I afford? What's happening? Can I still do this? Am I fucked?
Sheila ended up grinding this a bit after the invert plus was over.
Yeah, I think Sheila got most of the strats we found in one run, at least at the time.
Yeah. Until Arb did some more labbing stuff out later.
Well, the stuff that I did was 4 tasks. There's
Yeah.
some silly stuff you can do there, but
Yeah, so we're gonna watch these top 3 runs. There was a challenge between Cow and Fishy. Cow unfortunately didn't get the perfect run that he was intending to get. But I do have, I could show his intended strats. I'll probably just show Fishy's instead and skip the Arbs, because, you know, you'll see the mistake and it's basically going to be the same run anyway. So creating a little extra there.
Yeah.
but good handling of that section, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Better than JVC. Like a decent amount saved in that one section.
Outside of that one spot,
But a couple
we had
mistakes.
the same route.
I didn't know you could save a dust on the bottom.
Oh.
And that one slope should be the final dust created. Giving enough time for the sun to rise. We'll see what Cow ended up coming up with, even if he didn't get it perfect in his own run. There's one concession that Cow made in the interest of just getting a run. That's gonna be that 2 dust right there. We'll see if Fishy saves it. And if he doesn't, then we'll show what it was. Or at least we'll see it in ARBs, because I'm sure that gets skipped.
Have we seen anything like super crazy yet? Because this so far looks.
Oh, that is a lot of shred.
I guess that saves 1 dust over, I guess, landing twice.
Interesting.
Oh.
Oh.
That's cool. Oh.
Yeah, 1 extra dust there.
Mods, get him.
GG to ARB for getting that guy. Alright. Not bad, but even if it's not good enough, it was still a very interesting puzzle. I asked Cow where he thought Fishy saved dust, because Cow's route was only 26. Where is that 1 dust? I don't know. I'm gonna find out with you guys. Where did Fishy save 1 dust over Cow's route? And did he make other mistakes?
Wow, he's actually going for this?
He went for a
Oh
slope
my
reversal.
god.
Got 1 dust on that slant as well.
Oh, what?
You are
That's 2 dust
crazy.
there. So that 2 dust is avoidable.
That's insane.
Does that make up the difference? I think Fishy saved 4 with that and then lost 2. No, he saved 3 and then lost 2. So yeah, I think that makes up the difference. So I see one better strat that Cow intended over Fishy. Well, actually, Fishy creates 2 dust there.
I think that's no different than Cow's intended.
Did Cow do
strat
that
there.
too? I looked away at
Cow
that.
did something different, which I think ideally creates 2.
Well, there's still room to go down. So the question is, how low does ARB go?
Yeah, so before we see this replay, I wanted to know what you guys, both in the VC and in the chat, how low the task goes. I want to see some guesses.
That was a 25.
Predicted. So Fishy's got 25. We know there's a little bit of dust
No way,
between
50. No.
Cow and ARB, or Cow and
Shut up.
Fishy.
Oh, I guess I'm probably overshooting. I guess 21.
We got quite
Yeah.
a few 18s.
15, 19, 8 from No Face. I appreciate the faith, No Face.
8.
18
I don't
from
know what
Wesley.
kind of crazy crap is coming.
Hey, this is Price is Right rules.
2 from Diesel. Diesel thinking I can work miracles.
Yep, 2 at the start, and that's all you need.
I
Yeah,
want
dude.
the air twirlies.
Yep. We found a way to just have infinite air charges all the time.
Here it is. And I'll show off some of the tech required. I'll slow it down. So there's 1 on that slope reversal, 1 on that slant. Okay, doing a CWJ. Not what Cal thought
Oh.
of, but
Oh my dear lord.
Oh.
pretty good. That is definitely a good way to do it. Another slope reversal to save one more dust.
Huh. That's funny.
Getting
my
one dust
God.
there, and doing doing all the helicopter lines.
Oh!
What was that?
Let's go!
Still needs to land on 2 dusts.
Heavy loves those. Execute this heavy.
Also doing 1 dust there, 1 dust here. Gonna save dust in this section.
There's no way he touches the ground at any point in this climb.
Yeah. Does he do anything here? Still needs that 1 dust. Sometimes he can't make it.
Damn, you don't go over? Wow.
Ooh, goes over that. 1 more slope
Oh,
reversal
dear.
for the fans. Alright, what's the count? $16.
Back and
Close.
Goose. Back and Goose
And
with the
back.
16s.
Back and Goose. Wow.
That's almost
Wow.
worth a team point. Alright.
Almost.
So let's see how some of this works.
Yeah. So I
first
think
of all,
there
slope
might be a
reversals.
way to there might be a way to go 14 or 15 here, but I'm not entirely sure.
So first of all, this one, a slope reversal involves a slope surf. First step, be facing the downward direction of the slope. This is kind of hard, by the way, to do all these inputs.
Kinda.
So 1, enter slope
Kinda.
slide and be going, be facing the right direction. Step 1 accomplished. 2, press dash and heavy on the same frame. All right. Step 3, well, hit right. Hit the other direction. You had to not be holding left, by the way. So you need to let go of down, and then on the next frame you do dash plus heavy, and then on the next frame you hit the opposite direction, and then on the next frame you dash, because your task. Why not just dash again?
Yep.
Here you only need to land on you only need to get 1 dust from slants like that, as people were able to do themselves. Here, this is a corner wall jump. This is done with hitting down dash and jump on the same frame. And pretty often this doesn't clear dust, which means it also doesn't even spread dust in boss mode. The way that Cow did it is he actually went to this side and was able to rarely land right at that kind of corner and get one of the correct wall jumps to not spread dust. The wall jump itself, there are 2 ways that this works, and it depends on the angle of the wall. So if the wall is slanted upwards like this one, outwards, or upwards if you want to call it. So as long as you are traveling upwards while you input jump against this wall, and you don't start a wall run like this, you're traveling up and you're jumping upward along this upward slant, you're not going to spread any dust. Sometimes later on in the level that's a little bit harder to set up because there's a lot of space in between the walls. We see another slope reversal right here. The lights are to turn around the player, and you gotta do 2 lights in a direction to turn around. Each one of these lights gives you a little bonus time dilation, which I'm assuming added up to result in just the right amount of height.
Yeah,
And,
there's just enough height to get us 1 subframe wall run here, which does
Yep.
not spread dust.
Yep.
Jesus.
And then a pretty tight light doesn't spread any dust either. Making a little concession here. Plus 2 dust, unfortunately.
Yeah, here, if you can find a way to land on that slope, that's -1 dust there, but I couldn't figure out a way to get the distance. So.
Yeah, pretty normal stuff from here. Also doing the singular landings here, so you can see just landing.
Oh, there's a fun little LSJ here.
Oh yeah. So here on this downward slant wall, If you're moving downward when you jump off of it, then you're not going to spread dust. This is accomplished with a down dash wall jump. And then here, as long as you're moving upward, you'll get it. You know, very close, but worked out. Down dash before the wall jump there. Still sitting on an air charge too, so particularly difficult. And dashes apply in the same way, getting a lot of height for this. Not quite all needed, but just in case. Still had to get 2 dust here, but did another slope reversal into an up dash. And then the same wall climb, just to get enough height. And you can see the same tech being used again.
Wait, was that another subframe wall?
And the ending's just as expected. Lots of tech. Hopefully you guys are taking notes.
Yeah, this is all extremely doable RTA, by the way.
Yeah.
Heavy will do it.
Yeah.
It's also on the Kappa Crew exit test we're giving out to all our team members.
Damn,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not on that team.
Yeah. Dude, again, dude, shout out to Fishy for actually doing that slope reversal at the start, though. That's crazy. Like the way that it like spreads 1 dust instead of 0 that the test does. Or well, it spreads 2 versus the 1 the test does, but that does still save dust and it's still extremely hard to do. So big shout out to Fishy there.
There was one other exciting challenge that took place on Desert, featuring a very exciting combination of plugins, as you see
Oh
here
my
on
god,
screen.
I forgot about this, dude.
This was so ass.
So JVC and Avenged both agreed to do Stuck No Air Charge Desert. First person to complete the level, or first person to S complete the level. So get all the dust and complete the level. Doesn't matter if you SD it, you know, just complete it with all the dust. And it was a kind of quick challenge. We're gonna watch the winning replay from Avenged with boss mode off.
This was a sick challenge.
And you guys can enjoy how it went down. So Stuck, as you may remember from Tekkenish, you get stuck on the ground. It cancels out your speed when you're on the ground. And no air charge, well, you know, that's in the title too. You don't have an air charge. You don't even get an air charge when you attack stuff. So this full jump as worth strat, very fast. Very fast.
Yeah, regrettably.
This part right here was the first kind of challenge that our combatants had to deal with. Infinite wall jumps were used by Avenged. Avenged almost throwing.
Yeah, I actually did fall down there once during the course of the challenge.
Yeah.
So I was very sad.
This was about the this was the second or third run that got past that, I think.
Second run past that.
Alright. So yeah, this is all mostly first try kind of stuff, just figuring it out on the fly. But some of it is not as hard as other parts, so I'm gonna speed up a little bit. The way to go fast and Stuck No Air Charge is gonna be a lot of slope jumps and a lot of ceiling runs when we can. You do have a wall jump and a wall dash you can use, but sometimes when you're limited by that kind of stuff in the plugin, you kind of forget what else you're able to do. So, like JVC struggled a bit remembering that he could slope jump, unfortunately.
I also spent a bunch of time labbing, not realizing that that one spot was the only hard spot, and I wasn't particularly quick about my labbing either. I was just like walking through the level with the plugin on.
Yeah, no, I actually remember watching it. Like, I was watching both screens at the same time. JVC was still labbing stuff while Avenge was halfway through his like final run, and I was like, okay, well.
Yeah, shout outs to that back heavy save though. That was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I
rough.
was very scared there.
That could have won it, right there. Avenge getting the big boost.
Also,
we're
if
at the
anybody
end.
is interested after seeing this plugin combo, Tech Niche SS Stuck No Air Charge is possible.
Good to know.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Good to know. I'll keep that in
Yeah.
the back pocket.
Yeah, Heavy might not have been aware, but now he is.
Heavy will do it all.
If I'm finished with food by the time that we get to stuck techniques, I'll throw you a replay.
I'll have other replays to watch. But Desert's got the longest replays and some interesting, unique stuff to show off in it, so that's it for Desert. Unless somehow I missed something. Moving on to Tess's map, map ref 41N93W. I don't remember the album that Tess said that the art was based on, and also some of the song titles being titles for stuff. If anyone remembers, feel free to say it in chat. It's like
I believe it actually is
Wire
just
by
the
something,
name.
or maybe something by Wire, something like that. Wire 154. There it is.
I think it's in the map description on Atlas.
All right, let me check the leaderboard here. So this was a tough one. This one was one of the hardest red keys. Let's see if it did have the least number of reds. We had 12 reds here. Only got up to red 2. There were 13 reds on lavender. So this is the hardest to achieve red by that number. People had to fight pretty hard over it. It's the kind of
And
level
even-
that's relatively linear enough that it's hard to figure out strats on. So the keys ended up being hard to compensate.
Yeah.
I don't
and
think
even
I
anecdotally-
overcompensated, but there were a lot of people that grinded this hard in both a good way and a way that people may not have really cared for in the moment. You know, sometimes you don't like to grind the levels like that so much, just because it's so difficult and grueling. So in order to get a gold key, we needed a 14.5, which is exactly what Big Diesel has.
Yo, let's go, Diesel.
Let's
Which
go,
looks a little
Big Diesel,
different
my
with
goat.
plugins on.
I'm gonna have to take off soon, Zonda. Do you remember what I told you were my strats as far as lights out goes when you get there?
Yeah, I know.
To tell Miles. Okay.
I don't remember what to tell him. You can DM me if you want.
Okay, I'll DM.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember?
Yeah, I know it.
Oh, okay. All right. See you, everyone.
Later.
Exit level. All right, let's try that again. 14.5. 48 people getting at least gold. Oftentimes gold is a threshold that represents mostly intended strats and good execution. So think of it like you going fast. Normally people that would grind a level not in DLC, this would be a kind of solid time. You know, top 10 worthy perhaps. And then the people that push it are going to be looking into red key and really finding other kinds of strats. I don't expect too much variance on this level. I'm just gonna watch a few golds here and there.
My strats were different.
Try to see stuff from other teams. We'll see possible hints at what other people may have done. Paul does not want to do ledge cancels.
Yeah, these ones in particular were pretty tough, just because they're both reverse ledge cancel jumps specifically. So a lot of buttons to press within a small amount of time.
Let me see where these keys were at. 14.25. You can't really see ghosts on this level. I'll reset how it goes. Skip on the 14 for gold 3. And the ghost should be fine after this one. Epon getting 20th, or getting 19th place. 1 frame better than Quantum Coal at 20th, and a whole key tier better.
That magic frame.
See what Hammy did.
Woo, let's go, Hammy.
See a hook jump coming out from Hammy, saving a bit of time. Only 1 frame better than Epon at the end. Just dodged the corner cuddle.
Yep.
Sasha did a bunch of work for tassing a little bit for Chipotle. Chipotle doesn't really have Chipotle strats are more like a shotgun kind of way of approaching it. That's how I put it. Where you just fire a lot of replays at the level and see what sticks. That's definitely the style of players like JVC and Camel when starting off grinding levels.
Taking a shotgun to the dartboard, it seems.
Yeah. Let's see what Tess did. Maker of the level. These should be primarily intended strats. Yeah, showing that people were in fact doing the intended route.
The burrito bazooka.
But we have a small gap to get that red key. We'll see what Nighthawk did. We may soon see some very little changes. I'm not sure when they'll happen. There's the hook jump again, saving a little bit to avoid the corner cuddle.
Yeah, from what I remember testing, the hook jump compared to the corner cuddle, assuming both were performed perfectly, was about a 0.1 save.
I'll skip a few. Plant had record for a little bit on this one. I imagine we might start to see a hint of strat difference here. Doing a ledge cancel there, a bit behind. Doing an uplight on that gargoyle to knock it off. A little hard to see with the ghosts. But you guys will see a little more clearly soon. I'm sure Indipop does it too. Is this the secret strat that various teams did not figure out? Like Chipotle?
Oh, Indo's actually doing the neutral jump at the start there too.
Yeah, some little differences. So an interesting thing about that uplight, turns out uplight hits inward a little bit more than sidelight does, and also does kill the gargoyle. I was thinking sidelight was going to be an option for myself. You see the helicopter light coming out. The rare helicopter light use is worth there.
Yeah, and then I go and miss an ADB and throw a 13.5, but you know.
Let's see what Camel does. Just a hook jump.
God, my ending's so sad, man.
Camel 5th place, not doing the cool strat. I'm assuming that everybody above Camel did it. Not sure about Fishy actually. we don't know what Fishy did on the level. But Maso did have a 0.1 difference between his run and Fishy's. So if I had to guess, Fishy might not have found it. Meaning only half of our teams found it. We'll see if I reset the ghosts in time. Maybe Maso did the helicopter light too.
Yeah, the helicopter was interesting because I would have thought it would just be slower.
Fishy changing when he did the ledge cancel. Does do the side light and an up light for the helicopter.
Interesting.
So a little different at the beginning than the others. But figuring out the side light must have been tough. A little harder than the up light, although both are weird to input. Also with the cleaner section there in the middle. So yeah, Camel, the one trying to have the most skill perhaps, and not routing power this time. But good job to Maso getting our world record. One of 2 of them.
Yeah, very clean.
Let's see what Arb's task does.
Really not much different.
12.85.
It just, yeah.
Pretty good.
Couldn't quite get 12.8 for another key tier, but you know.
Pretty much looking the same. The helicopter light to grab that ceiling. Since you're not doing the corner cuddle, you don't have to wait, you have the air charge. You at least get to use the momentum upward from grabbing the ceiling earlier, which is some nice extra height.
And strangely enough, is faster. I did try it without the helicopter. The extra height does help quite a bit.
Here our invert key was Kid No Dash any percent, which is one of the easier inverts that we had, and invert pluses. One of the most achieved, if not the most. Let me see. There were 44 people that did the invert, which is the highest number of inverts. And then there are 22 people, half of them got invert plus, which is not the highest number of invert pluses, but it's up there. There are some that are in the 20s. Or I'm looking at the wrong one. There's 24 invert pluses, but still not the highest. It's like, well, maybe tied for the highest. I don't know. I don't have the stats handy. Something to remember in the future. So let's see what one of these looks like. Quantum has a LOTAD too. What category is that? I think this is just SS. We'll see this first. Goodbye, task-related ghosts. Alright, same kind of strats, just a low tab.
Wait, what did he do at the start there?
He just did a normal jump, no dash.
Really?
Alright, so let's see
This
some
one's okay.
Kid Lodash. Let's see what temp does. So the requirement for invert was just 24, very lenient. A lot of people got this first try. And if you didn't, you probably were encouraged very quickly to get it second try. And be like, you know what, that's fine. Just under 24. The start saved 1 frame according to Quantum. But there are some tricks required to get the 18-second run. And we have an 18-second DA from A-Boss. First, the first one is a Mapler at the beginning. Getting jumps back. And barely dropping combo at the end there.
Yeah, with the exact 18 as well.
JVC also got 18 flat. Check that one out too. And then skip to the top. I don't think there were any challenges in this category. Looking pretty similar. Not hitting one of the gargoyles, saving time. Only the last 2 are attached to the end trigger. Let's see what Maso did here, and then skip the camel. But yeah, nothing extra on the line here. Just grinding for good strats, perhaps. If you really like Kid No Dash. Getting a little ground boost. It looked like a slope jump there. That's a common way to get a little speed back, leaving the ground.
The camel with a 0.4 save.
Yeah. What did Camel do and why? Alright, getting hit. Not required.
Ooh, the damage boost.
You can dodge that and do exactly what Camel did. But Camel keeping the stylish damage boost for the CA. Alright. For Technique, we had a few challenges here. We had 2 challenges. Yoko, Hasty, and Paul had a challenge on normal SS. They did pretty well, getting into that red key tier. In Paul's case, winning it. Winning by about 0.3, 0.4 compared to Yoko. Gold here was a 20-second run. Technique, very much the opposite of the original Technique level. This one, not so Technique, not so technical.
Ironically, it's still rather technical, but in a different way.
Yeah. Now, if you didn't know, before going on, so Technique is a little bit more obviously based on an existing map on Atlas called Technique. Do we have a replay handy of the original map somewhere? I can just open
I
that.
can look one up unless someone beats me to it in chat.
So here is the original map. So, as you might imagine, not really DLC friendly. This map was made by Uckies at the end of 2022, I think. And
yes.
Let's see, there are 2 SS's and 1 Fateful AS by Plant. Uckies and Fishy, the only SS's. Fishy only got it 5 months ago. This was this was part of the Pulvis Beast map pack, made by Uckies, Delos, Simon, and Alex. Each person made one very difficult map. You know, why not? And then this ended up being the final one to be SS'd. And it ended up being that a lot of the spacing in the original map ended up being reused and repurposed into a boost map with like a couple minor changes, like the end is shortened a little bit, but hey, you don't notice that kind of stuff. It just kind of looks the same. You know, cool to see that kind of reimagining of a level. And also, fun fact, MapRef is similar to a map called Ibitsu, from the same album, by Tess, the map maker. So, pretty cool little reuse of existing maps, repurposing. Technique being the very obvious one. But a couple people caught on the MapRef a little bit. Some fun facts about the levels there. As for the keys though, this one looks like it was the most common gold. Am I reading that right? Yeah. This is the most common gold. And I think it was also the most common red. Yeah, there were 21 people who got red key here. So gold was 20 seconds, red key was 18.25. It's hard in the sense that if you're gonna go fast, then, well, you gotta keep all that speed the whole way. Once you get to the top of the level, you can keep that speed for the entire level. And these boosts are pretty tight to hit. So even if it claims to not be so technical, it really is.
Yeah, classic name map, not so technical. Make it downhill technical.
Definitely.
To keep your speed.
Very different kind of speed preservation compared to desert, which allows you to space it all out. I'm gonna watch a few of these at a time. Yoko and Hasty in a challenge. Hasty with the best start we have so far. And they're neck and neck for a bit there. Yoko loses speed before the final set sequence.
Yeah, that's a 77% ADB. Honestly, I don't even know how I PP'd with it.
8.25 here is the red requirement. Is it time to explain what ADBs are?
The biannual ADB explanation, yeah.
Yeah. So this map, it's all about preserving speed, and one of the things that is important for that in midair is an aerial dash boost. Every time that you dash in midair, there's a little calculation that goes on under the hood, and as long as it's within a certain angle, you get to keep all of your speed. It's something that, as you get experience with the game, you kind of intuitively have a good feel for. But it's just one of those things that you pick up over time. And you see it kind of obviously right near the end there. That full jump into dash to land on that platform, that involves an ADB in order to keep an optimal speed. I'll keep skipping a few. Reset ghosts. I'll slow this one down when we get there. Hopefully it does the ADB. So yeah, we've got right here you can see the speed. The angle is 72.7, which is you want to be within a 36 degree window, 18 on either side. So between 72 and 108. And we have a good ADB from Steel Echo here, dashed on a good frame. And you can see the ghost is slowly gaining distance thanks to a better ADB. Good coincidence. Thanks for the setup, Steel Echo. Let's skip to sub 18. There's a little bit of other tech going on here. There's maplers, there's an up dash at the start. There's jumping into ceilings for ceiling boosts. And in order to keep speed in levels like Desert and Techniche here, sometimes you want to get a better angle when you get into the ceiling there. That's something that you see in Park any percent. Let's get into the top 10. Ouija with a bigger up dash. And mostly the same pace as Indipop after that. So Indipop, not the best start, but keeping speed. Ouija and Wazi actually on the same team. And Wazi doing the same up dash, but with a little bit more of a lead over Ouija. Loses some speed there, but keeps all the speed for the ADB. JVC had a little rivalry with Miles here. Miles had a surprise world record right before people were getting red keys early on. So JVC had to put him in his place and kept grinding a little bit here and there throughout the round. I'll show how up dashes work next run, probably. Not everyone's doing one, but basically, basically it's a really quick one to show off.
And I was so behind at the start. What did I do wrong there?
Well, you didn't do an up dash.
I did not. That certainly wasn't on purpose.
So let's see what idle does. So to do the up dash, you be in dash state and then let go. Idle does not do an up dash. So as you can see, not doing an up dash, idle is immediately in wall run. And when you're in wall run, you're now decelerating downward because there's a little bit of wall friction going on as you continue your wall run. If you stay in dash state, you keep the same speed going up and don't undergo friction from the wall for a small amount of time. So it is often strictly just better to let the up dash happen and just you know, not undergo friction. Let's see if plant does it. So if plant does a dash, does not do an up dash. Yeah, there's some big ones out there. This one, because there's wall so low on the wall there, or there's dust so low on the wall there, it's not as important to do an up dash or as beneficial as other spots. I think plant had record for a bit here too. Camel, I know, did some different stuff. Camel with some dubious strats at the beginning here.
What?
I'll reset the ghost so you guys can watch that one a little more clearly for fun. Now, when Camel was doing this yesterday, he was getting flamed by JVC in the voice channel because he was losing time. Because JVC was faster at this section than Camel.
No wonder.
You know, classic
That's certainly-
Chipotle things. But Camel wanted to be stylish in his third place attempts. Maso on V ceilings. Does not do an up dash either. No big deal. But Maso in a rough challenge with Fishy managed to win on levels that he wasn't on a challenge with Fishy on. But this one right up Fishy's alley. Do you do an up dash in TAS?
Yes.
Alright, I'll shut off for that. If you didn't, I'd probably have a problem. I'd be like, why is Arb not doing an up dash? What's possibly faster? But it's very minor. It's not an ideal up dash situation.
Yeah.
Let's watch Fishies one more time.
Yeah, it really does not amount to a massive time save here. Because like, the boost isn't gigantic, and it's also a 45 collision angle, so you don't like keep a bunch of speed going upwards.
Yeah, in that thin of a wall next to other wall, like chimney, it's often very fast to do the multiple wall jumps in a row, kind of like what you see at Night Temple in that little chimney there. Arb with a dash jump at the start, doing the multiple wall jumps and the the up dash, a ledge cancel earlier too. Very good ADB. Jumping into the ceiling. Do you even get a boost off that?
Yeah, small ceiling boost.
Alright. That was one thing that is very hard to save time on, if at all.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm curious how that compares. Here's the up dash. Fishy's ghost actually looking a little bit better than this RB play.
What did I do wrong here? I think it's probably a selection of like the boost at the start, and whether to do it later or early.
Maybe waiting for the dash jump.
Yeah. Perhaps.
So you can see here in this dash state, you're still going up at 707.
Yeah.
But you still have to grab the wall to get the dust kind of early. Fishy happens to wall jump only once, so Arb climbs over the wall here a little bit earlier, and then Arb's got a pretty good ledge cancel with tools, and manages to get 2 jumps into the ceiling, and then it's off to the race. Getting a ceiling boost here, was that better than just dashing?
From what I remember, yes.
Yeah, and also wasting the air charge intentionally here to set up a better ceiling boost angle. We got the ADB as good as it can get.
Yeah, unfortunately, pretty bad ledge jump just because of how it lined up, but can't do much about that.
Yeah, sometimes that's how it happens. Landing as early as possible on this slope too, probably what made the difference.
Yeah, this was a 1-frame save from what I tried to test, compared to any other landings on the slope.
Cool. Nice little 16.5.
Yeah, probably some small optimizations to be had there, but you know, solid enough to at least show off some routing.
But unfortunately, you could not go this fast when it comes to our invert category here, which I believe was a lot of people's favorites.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the favorites are always spread out, but this is a unique one. Stuck is a plugin that I've been sitting on since DLC 6, and we didn't find an invert for the to be used in DLC 6, and somehow we found a great level for it, the perfect level. So Stuck, as seen earlier, it stops you when you're on the ground. This is just a demo replay showing you something that's not actually that slow. I was expecting a worse example.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
this is camel practice.
Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people like this. I felt my soul leaving my body when I was playing this, but
the slope slide. But Camel figured this out with Man pretty quickly. And he did pretty well on it. Definitely showing how rough it is. And the ghost is trying to go forward. But that is that's just to beat the level. That's Camel not even trying to get all the dust yet. And we needed Stuck SS. Also, a Worth ended up on top for the category. So just 1 minute was the SS. 1 minute SS was the invert. 40 seconds was the requirement for invert plus. And naturally, in exactly how DLC 6 worked out for Heavy, we had a challenge between Heavy and Wazzy here, unknown to Heavy at the time. JVC decided, you know, it'd be great. Heavy would love a Stuck no dash challenge. So JVC off to DLC General, tags Wazzy, says something like, Heavy wants to do this with you. Heavy learns of it like 2 hours later, after Wazzy accepts. But we knew Heavy was gonna accept anyway. And then Heavy fell in love with the category. Had a big lead. So we ended up with a frame tie. However, Wazzy's PB was a little bit worse than this right at the deadline. This was kind of after the fact. I'm not sure what his PB was. I think it was in the 36s or 37s. But we'll see what he intended to do, at least for the fun of it. Oh, you got this before the deadline? I thought I saw that you got it after the deadline. post in general after. Someone check the timestamp. See when the replay showed up on Duskhead. See how many seconds there were to spare. But Wazzy was at this for a while. Throughout the week, Fishy gave some strats, and it was enough to tie Heavy. But Heavy got it much earlier, and Heavy grinded this really hard the first couple days. So yeah, Stuck no dash SS, proving that you can go fast without even dashing. We see some differences between the two players.
Yeah, so it was at just over 3 minutes before deadline for that run. Yeah.
Technically, not the closest challenge that we had for that. Well, actually, no, this is technically the closest, but not the most at the deadline.
Yeah. We have one later that claims that one.
Yep. But very good challenge between the two of them. Let's check out A-Boss as well. If only Wazzy switched to Worth. Yeah, was Fishy's PB no dash also? Oh, the very
that
unusual
ceiling
slide
boost.
off.
That ceiling boost at the end was pretty spicy too.
PBs with dashes, alright. Yeah, Fishy had a good run without dashes. 35.8. I'm gonna skip that for now because Fishy was not in the challenge. You guys can watch that if you want. Let's see. There's one other cool replay I want to show when Stuck. So let me delete some ghosts. Alright. So, it turns out that Stuck Apple SS is possible.
Oh dear.
And so normally there's a no super trigger at the start of this level, which, you know, that's pretty difficult to deal with. You can break camera to get super back for this. I'm just gonna turn on free camera so it doesn't freak out for some of it, and hope it doesn't desync. I'll just keep free camera on. No big deal. But we're gonna see a lot of apple juggling. So there's one apple here at the end of the level. There's one apple under the end of the level. And there's a big apple on the left side.
The entire city of New York contained in one map.
Oh, you have to juggle over the whole thing because you can't get through the too high gap easily and stuff.
Yeah, you can barely super that on one side. Cow with the Cow claimed that that is a setup for the height, and I guess I believe him.
Are you kidding me?
It's probably a setup for Cow.
Yep, true. And it was good. It was a good setup, as you can see here.
Oh, it actually just works out. That's crazy.
And some of you may not have noticed that there's a hole, and Cow almost dropping the apple a few
Multiple
times. Here.
almost dropping the
Yeah. Sweating profusely, I'm sure.
Wait, was this a challenge or just something Cow decided to do?
This was almost a challenge.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Cow went ahead with it and proved it was possible. One other funny thing that some people may have discovered in Stuck is that, and one of the reasons that this came about was, in these little gaps, you can actually move forward a little bit at a time if you jump repeatedly into the wall. So this would take a few minutes if I kept up this blazing pace. I could also do some ceiling runs as kid. That works out kind of nicely. There's some like other kind of stuff that you can do, but you know, it's a little bit mashy. But if you do that long enough, you can get to the apple. And the Apple SS was born. But you could just super the apple from outside anyway. And there are other pieces of tech.
Really faster.
Yeah, there's like you can grab the ceiling to not be able to ceiling run right there while holding up. Get in there a little bit. Or you could just let go of up and then do that. So I was talking about some of this with Chipotle because Heavy was messing around and Heavy got stuck somewhere in the level and was like, oh, that's a soft lock. And then I accidentally gave out a hint that was like, that's not a soft lock, by the way. I try to not say stuff even like that, but like, get stuck somewhere like this, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually not a soft lock. You can just jump repeatedly into the wall. And then we started thinking about Apple SS, and you know, memes were born. And Cow ended up doing it at the end. You know, turns out you don't have to do that. You can save a lot of time. But because of this, I managed to convince multiple teams to try out Stuck Babies Playground, which is a map that JVC is a big fan of. One of the top favorite JVC maps out there. I have, this is the any percent run. Idle's jumping into the ceiling for some reason. I should just showed SS if that's what's gonna happen. DCBC got an SS on this. I'm trying to get the link to that. There's also some fast Babies Playground action. But yeah, Babies Playground, the perfect level to mess around with, as you can see. Go try it out yourself. Someone can definitely link that, or you can find it yourself. Magma Peach grinded fast Babies Playground. DCBC got the Stuck SS. I managed to screenshot a bunch of people playing Babies Playground. What else we got? Techniche, also the host of Boss Mode DPM Challenge, because Weejo and Hammy couldn't wait until there was actually a Boss Mode level in DLC. And they didn't have to wait long. They got straight to it and had their own little Boss Mode. So Boss Mode DPM, the more slightly normal way of playing Boss Mode, it's basically two side categories anyway. Lets you spread a lot of dust. There's a lot of like holes in the geometry. You can see there being extra dust spread in there. Dust per minute is the category, so you want to go fast and also spread a lot of dust. And there's a bit of an interesting balance to that. But this one ended up being a blowout by Hammy.
Because Hammy's the GOAT.
Looks like Hammy's gonna take a few more detours. Instead of going quickly, he's gonna spread significantly more dust. Which is, you know, it's a balance to keep up. I'm sure you guys may have come into it yourself with Lavender I figured out how it works. That was the invert key category for Lavender, boss mode DPM. Don't want to exit level. We got Rubble Boost first to the team maps. I apparently didn't update my own dust mod. One moment. No need to be on dev anymore. Because that's the same as stable right now. It's intermission time. I have the event gallery in my level source folder. I missed the boost. There it is. Alright, Rubble Boost, the man map. Even the players that didn't know the character requirement probably played man on it. So, good to see that. Pretty difficult boost map. No like huge boosts or anything, but challenging to keep speed and hit some attacks at the same time. Let's see what we have for Rubble Boost. 19 people got the red key, so a pretty common one. We went up to red 2. Red key was 8.8. World record being 8.5. We kept a lot of our short level times very close. So even gold was 9.5. And that was a pretty common gold too. The most common gold out of the team levels. People love their man levels, you know. That's definitely the reason for it. Here we got Air Bear. Gets a single heavy, 2 heavies right there. You know, pretty standard expected strats. Nothing too crazy in this level. Most of the team levels are like that. Let's skip ahead to sub 9. This was for gold 3. Gonna see similar strats, but more cleaned up. Snow, an old school player, still representing on Team Chipotle this time around. 8.8 achieved by Magna Peach. Gets a little higher for a better boost. I don't know if Snow plays other games. There's a decent amount of overlap with Meat Boy though. Where's a good one? So Magma Peach got under 8.8. Sasha and Nighthawk also from Chipotle. We got a few people from Wildlife Wranglers, like Epon, who did the art for this. Looks like this is one of Idle's least grinded levels. Can't grind them all sometimes.
Yeah, quite a lot of maps this DLC, so tough to keep tabs on everything.
Yeah, 7 leaderboards. Let's show a 52 pickup run. Also didn't have too much time to play, but managed to get the red key. Doing the wall jumps. Now the question in DLC is always, is the access boost worth it? Or in this case, the corner boost on that ceiling.
In fairness, this one isn't an access boost.
Yep.
No bait to be had here.
Watch Tess's run. And watch the top 10. Tess also doing the boost from the ceiling. But 2 heavies, keeping it simple. Things might get a little spicier when we speed it up. Wazi Wildlife Wrangler. A little quicker. This is a 4-way frame tie between Wazi, Plant, Tess, and 52 pickup for 10th. But only Wazi's was worth 2 level points. The rest were 1 level point. We got a few people from V Ceilings. Let's see what Indapop did. Does the ledge cancel? Same kind of ending. Camel and JVC at the top for Chipotle. Camel slightly ahead for the beginning. Better ledge cancel perhaps. Alex tying JVC at 4th. Let's go to the ceiling early for a dash. That's actually a strat that I didn't tell the team that made it that I knew about. I was doing that strat. I'm curious if anyone else does it though. But no big surprises. Sometimes the short maps are like that. Arb doing the ceiling. But Fishy is gonna save 3 more frames. Does it with the ledge cancel. Backlight. 2 heavies. Not letting go of the ceiling really. A quality run that was not very contested. One of the less competitive leaderboards of the group. But very difficult to go fast. Also, in that frame tie between Wazi and Plant there, Wazi did win that frame tie because of getting it first and winning that challenge. So 1 frame tie going well for Wazi, 1 going well for not Wazi. Came out even on him.
Oh, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to redo the stats, I just forgot about it. Oh well.
Alright, doing the same strats. I'm honestly a little bit surprised. I think this can be pushed a little bit lower.
Oh no,
with,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't test strongly between ledge cancel versus ceiling. I was leaning towards I would probably go for the ceiling if I were to grind it myself, because it looked like it was going to be as good as a ledge cancel and it results in better speed.
Yeah, ceiling was 4 frames faster compared to a 2-frame ledge cancel. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the direction I was leaning for the ceiling. And then what Alex did, I don't know if you tried that at all, Arb, letting go of the ceiling then dashing.
Yeah, let me do a quick try on that.
I was getting that a few frames faster.
Yeah,
and then,
I would expect it to be.
And then I was also expecting a I was expecting some 2 lights on the big gargoyle, not 2 heavies for everything.
Yeah, that looked like it would have maybe been faster, but this was more like stuff for RTA, and you know, 2
Yeah.
lights is not much faster. So
Hey, 7 leaderboards.
yeah. Well, let me test out the dash at the end. Curious how fast it is.
Yeah, I was doing that one a little faster on average. But good job to our players here. If dashing normally wasn't enough, we had a special plugin for everybody to enjoy otherwise. Dash macro any percent for the invert. This is one of those inverts where you have to fight against the plugin. It's as if you do a dash. The game forces a dash intent. It forces the input essentially every frame. In order to get invert plus, you needed 10 seconds, and everybody met the. I want to say it was 15 seconds. It was pretty lenient. Yeah, everybody that beat it ended up getting invert. So I think this was the most common invert of the team maps. It's actually tied with rope dart, but it had more invert pluses. So let's see what heavy does. Taking it a little slow at times. Not getting too many boosts, you know? You see the dash highlighted every frame. The ending's kind of tough. Line up that those heavies. Yeah, we got an invert plus as worth. Nice. Let's check that one out. For the most part, I tried to keep the team inverts on the easier side. That didn't go perfectly. There were some that were harder. This was one of those easier ones, more lenient, because fighting against dash macro is not easy. There's some tricks that you can learn to do it better. Like if you hold down during the start of your jump, or if you're doing attacks, you're not going to be dashing. Buffering a downlight timing with that light I see.
Yeah, a lot of buffered attacks was how I got my run.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff. Hammy with a good run. Using a jump, and pretty solid time here. Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah.
We have a couple
And to note-
SSs.
yeah.
Might as well do
Just-
one of these for fun.
Yep. Just to note the difference between early release and taking the ceiling at all the way at the end is about 5 frames.
5 frame difference. Alex secretly saving 5 frames compared to everybody else. Right at the
Damn.
end.
Just built different.
They knew about the secret strat that I didn't even tell them about. Let's see. The next level is Kappa Canopy.
Yeah, this map is so fun. People should play it 800 times.
Yeah, where's
Who
the
could
Avenge Bad?
possibly do that?
This is one of the most grinded levels that we have.
I think Avenged actually may have had like 1,000.
Screw
There
this
he
level.
is.
Level
Yeah, I think
fucking
Avenged.
sucks.
I think Avenged actually had like about 1,000 replays here, at least submitted anyway.
So we had 2 challenges here, one between Foxy and Cruel Gamer, separated by 1 placing on the ranks.
One
So,
rank, but
a close
actually a
one.
lot closer than a lot of other gaps, or a lot further apart than a lot of other
Yeah,
gaps.
Yeah,
Per
it goes
Paul, my replays alone accounted for 16% of all replays on this level.
Yeah, that's some grinding right there.
You must have gotten world record by then, right?
You're funny.
Gold key, unfortunately for both of these players, was 9 even. Showing that even though it's a very linear level, not too much that you can change, it's still pretty tough to get those golds. Red key, a somewhat common one here. 19 people got 8.4. Let's see what Cow did. We got 8.4 on the dot. So there are a couple decisions to make here, like how you want to handle the first turkeys and the end turkeys. The end turkeys being something that we'll see more at the top replays, I'm sure. Even though Cow was 19th, there were only 3 frames that separated him from top 10. Avenged Ruler played the level a lot for a challenge with Paul. Had the lead for a decent chunk of time, but Paul ended up getting it and was stressing over it over the final day because Avenged really could just bop him at any time. Avenged,
Dude, the start dash is so bad.
complained a bit about the initial dashes in the level 2.
Yeah, that
Gotta
start
work on
dash
that.
is like 7 frames. It's not good.
But that ledge cancel by Paul.
Wait, what? What is? Wait,
what?
What was that ending? Huh?
Huh?
What is that ending?
I don't know. I mean, I literally, I mean, I guess I do know it was a light into a heavy, but.
And what do you mean? That was the artist's vision, Art. Okay, we thought of this. They just
mean,
they just
I
respected
don't
the artist's vision.
I don't know what you mean by we, but.
Yeah, at the top we're gonna see some similar stuff, I'm sure. For a time, the record sat around 8.3, 8.2s.
Yeah, they're actually like the top 6, I believe, was just like 1 frame gaps from first to 6th, like for the longest time.
But then there was a little discovery in V ceilings. I think they found something first. Maso ended up grinding it the most. But yeah, side light down heavy works.
Huh. That's,
Oh
I guess,
dear.
I guess the side light halts the cycle of the bottom. Yeah, no,
Yep.
that makes sense, but I.
It's a little bit cycle dependent. It's pretty rough. I warned you guys of something pretty similar. That was much easier to do.
About the
in terms
uplight.
of that.
Yeah, we knew about the uplight down heavy, but we knew it was slower. But I didn't know about this.
But yeah, gotta be careful with those turkeys at the end of levels. Sometimes people tend to not care for bob cycles.
Am I the only one in top 5 that doesn't do this?
I'm guessing so.
Seems like it.
Interesting.
Did I watch Fishy's run?
I do not know.
I think so.
Well, either way.
Yeah,
Let's see
strangely,
this task.
I feel less bad about missing the challenge now.
Okay, I'm trying this on my task and it does not line up on the cycle on tasks.
It might not.
Yeah, maybe this is why I just didn't see it.
There's also an up light, side light into down heavy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of variety that works with lighting stuff.
I mean, I would expect the 2 light heavy to be
I'll watch that one
slower,
more time.
but it's interesting.
Pretty big lead by Arbtas. Most of that at the beginning.
And an LSJ.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
We had a rare rope dart invert.
Man, this invert was cooked. Rope Dart is such a strange plugin.
Rope
I
dart
don't
any
remember if I
percent.
got invert plus on this, but I thought it was kind of a fun one.
A lot of people getting the 5.999. A 10-way
That
frame
is a lot
tie.
of. That is a lot of frame ties. What the?
A challenging kind of grind for 7 seconds. Let's watch Nerdy who got this one. A lot of Worth showed up. It's easier to jump over the platforms with Worth. But you gotta save 1 more second. And the first person that got it and at least kept it was Hasty.
Sick.
So some special rope dart, specific geometry on top of the level for some of those boosts. Alex Speedy, the maker of rope dart, had to play it himself. Boss, not at the top of this invert leaderboard, but often at the top. Showing it being played well as Worth. But Arb tested this out as girl, and we were expecting a lot more girl players. Well, man or girl, didn't matter.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect Worth there, but it worked out.
Old man jump high.
We almost had an all-star. If only Fishy switched to man, and then someone else played kid.
Someone played kid. I can't expect kid would have worked out. Like, even
Yeah, I was gonna say, ain't no way kids getting in top 4 here.
if you do, you're just like breaking your hands. There's no way.
Those rope darts are already toxic on Worth. I can't imagine that on Kid.
Alright, the next one we have is our kid map, Stormful Harmony.
Speaking of kid.
We had a nail biter challenge here between Yoko and Rodent. And those of you guys following in Trash Talk managed to see the highlights of that as it developed. And it culminated today with what was a frame tie. Both Rodent and Yoko got runs of Kid Low Direction SS. You know, Kid Low Direction, the invert category here. Rodent submitted this run 33 seconds before Yoko got an exact frame tie.
Huh. Oh my god. The strats.
And this also happened less than 30 minutes before the final deadline for the round. So that was not that long ago today that these two are still playing. Both of them being helped out by their teams for strats.
Yeah, I think I had help from like 5 people on the team by the end. Very much a team effort. We like Frankenstein together a bunch of different individual strats.
Yeah. This is very much a culmination.
How did you get a run so quickly with those strats? Those strats are psychotic.
Yeah, those are really hard. We all hated the lineup.
But 1 minute and 36 seconds before the final deadline, the tie was broken by Yoko.
Yeah, it turns out
With
you
this
can do
round.
that difficult lineup at the start rather than on the way back.
And with boost speed, you can get slant boost speed.
The main challenges being what to do with the dust on the bottom of the level for Kid Low Direction. You don't normally have a Kid Low Direction category ever. Kid is not the low direction character you almost ever want to play, so it was a good change of pace to deal with it as Kid, and it just kind of worked out.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't try it out, try dashing and jumping off a ledge as Kid with no directions.
Yeah, that was one of the main issues with being able to execute.
Certainly a pain point.
Like, actually, can you show Camel's Run? Is Camel's Run the same as Rodent's Run, but slightly...
Yeah, same strats, but one frame better.
Okay.
Interesting.
You can check it out. You can check it out. It's you know, leaderboards are visible now.
Yeah, true.
But that was the category. It was one of the one of the rarer inverts and invert pluses. No Direction this time around, a little less popular. They were on some more challenging levels. So this one had the fewest number of inverts, and that was just get an SS. Pretty challenging kind of category. So good job to you guys on that challenge. Exciting. Will there be a rematch?
On No Direction or on something
In
else?
general.
I'm down for a rematch.
Ooh.
It definitely seems like a really good skill match. So.
Yep. We'll see what happens
If
next
only,
round.
you know, if only the challenge admins were listening to this right now and could easily fix it up.
We did set that one up with you guys, and Rodent wasn't thinking about it in the first place.
Interesting.
For if you're allowed to press the directions, things get a little bit faster. 9.25 is the requirement for gold. It turns out that that's much easier.
Yeah, just a little bit faster.
We had 44 people accomplish this. Right there at the median. We had a challenge between Quantum and 52 Pickup here. This was a pretty exciting 15-minute challenge in which they had 15 minutes to get the best possible SS. This ended up being 52 Pickup's result after 15 minutes. Decided to play it a bit safe around that bear. But Quantum had slightly better bear strats and was able to figure it out. I was not, I'm pretty sure 52 Pickup had a better run during the challenge than that one. I think it was like a 9 point something. But in 15 minutes, just shy of that red key time. All thanks to bear strats.
Yeah, the bear was definitely the focal point of this map, really, in terms of how you handled it.
Wazzy getting 8.499 on the dot. Good for red. Also good for a leaderboard point, 16th place. The bear spreads wherever you decide to heavy it. So, lights were pretty essential. Tim got some revenge.
He did win in the end.
Yeah, this like happened almost immediately after you watched the team replays.
Yeah, 10 minutes later.
Yeah, this was crazy fast to get this time.
There was a lot of exciting grind from Team Chipotle on their own map, which was a very big coincidence that the neon white representatives of the group also decided they really like Kid on their own level. What? Someone you don't normally see at the top of the leaderboard, making his mark.
Yeah, these two both pushed super hard.
Wet known Kid main, but also finally trying out other characters and getting keys for the team. Good for 5th place. Pretty intense grind there. We're gonna see some different light strats among the top players.
Yeah, I'm curious about the variants here. So,
I imagine
Sheila and I
you and Sheila did the same thing.
essentially the same thing. I'm behind at the start as I always am, apparently.
I'll just reset Ghost again for the final ones. Fishy 2nd place, along with Arb, tied but 3rd.
Okay, wall climb strat with the heavy there.
And Camel representing the map he uploaded and his #1 pick on the favorite character to play. Has to defend the Kid level.
Absolutely insane.
Okay, again, essentially pretty similar strats from Camel there.
Yep. But does it go lower?
It should. I would hope it does.
An extra ceiling boost in there for the sub 8. But very close.
Oh my god.
A tiny little
boost
ceiling
at the
boost.
end.
Yeah.
Probably saved a frame or two of that.
The second ceiling boost saves like a frame, but the overall one saves a nice little chunk.
Also deciding to skip the ledge cancel for Mantle. Something you don't normally
Yeah,
see
it
being
was-
faster.
Yeah, it was like barely faster in this case. I think it was just like some frames.
We also have one special additional task replay to show,
Eyes.
which is a little preview of some stuff we'll see later.
Oh.
Sheila got a frame advance run on fast any percent, and you know that might look a little strange. Especially when you consider that there are actually death zones right here. But if you get enough speed, you can go directly through death zones. You know, you're here 1 subframe, and then on the next frame you're here. Turns out You can just go through death zones when you're fast enough like that. It's easier to do with death zones.
Thank God for skinny death zones, I guess.
Pretty much. Yeah, I did a little bit of labbing on this. I'm convinced you can get a much faster time than this, but I don't know how much faster.
It's a nice little fun demo.
Yeah. So we were actually just joking about like getting past those death zones at any percent, and then we're just like, oh, it actually is possible.
I figured it had to be possible. You had so much space to work with there, like there was no way it wasn't going to be possible.
Lavender, very challenging map. Most difficult of the team maps to play. And also the Worth map, very high APM, and rarest to achieve gold. You know, sometimes you see that with the challenging kinds of maps like this. That was 11 seconds required to get a gold.
Yeah, this was a rough one.
Surprised me at all.
Odin and Paul both got 11 flat.
Yo, Paul the Worth main?
Yeah, Paul willing to get those keys. And it mattered. Chipotle dominated it as far as golds were concerned. A lot of people that they convinced to convert their silvers to golds really put in that extra work.
Yeah, doing some alchemy over there.
Let's see what we got here. Are there any challenges? There's one that we'll show later. Also have a Quantum Coral task to show later too. We'll see how that compares with whatever ARB does. Let's watch someone else. Let's see Skyhawk. The shiny ghosts on this level.
That's a weird effect.
On the same sublayer as the Entity Outliner.
I see.
So probably
Is that
not
always
getting
the
too many
case?
ghosts. They'll be kind of condensed.
Yeah.
So in this kind of level, the intended strats are what reigns supreme. It's hard to find any kind of middle ground. And it's challenging to get there in this kind of level. You know, very hard to execute this kind of stuff quickly. Some people
Yeah,
were able
this
to
is-
do it, but when you've got 6 other levels to play, you know, you're gonna have some priorities. But it kind of evens out in the end.
It's a hand grinder for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this this map and map ref reduced my fingers to dust.
We had 13 people got red key, which was the second least, right behind map ref with 12. Both of these levels were more commonly achieved by Team V Ceilings. Team V Ceilings is also the team that made the map. Mostly a lot of Indopop stuff in here. Let's check out his run. Little differences. Only a few frames separate these 9.6 runs in the top 3 to top 8, looks like. Those are worth some points. JVC and ARB ending with a frame tie. With
Yeah,
differences.
Yeah, I was trying to get them auto buff, but hard map.
Yeah.
Maso 1 frame better. More little differences, but sometimes they end up being very similar. Even in levels like this. You can cut the corner or you can get a little boost instead. Quantum Coral here, grinding a lot. Back and forth with Fishy, especially in the final days. Trying to defend the map for Team V ceilings. And managed to keep record for about a day plus near the end. Fishy regaining the world record by only 1 frame later on. And Quantum trying to get it back, but not quite. Fishy going to the corner. So the same kind of strats that we see between the two of them, represented across the board. Let's check Fishy's out one more time. I'm gonna also put this on again before checking out some ghosts. Or I'll put this ghost back on. And then I have Quantum's Lotad replay, or TAS. Whatever it is. Better start. Doing the intended strats, probably, for your own route. Not sure if I caught any big differences there.
There's a lot of like really particular clips or yeah, just really small stuff that adds up in the route.
Yeah, but the same kind of strats. Let's see what Arb got on it. Getting a bit different of a boost. And a few frames faster. 3 frames faster.
Yeah, I think this should be like 3 or 4 frames faster, but I lost a bunch of time to some resyncs somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where.
Fairly close to the world record for both of these, but hey, with a short level, sometimes that happens. And it's hard to polish these to really good task level.
Yeah, and in fairness to the record and even Quantum's second place, like those were grinded a lot.
Yeah,
so like
very heavily grinded. 0.2 ahead of the rest.
Yeah, couple hundred replays.
Only a couple hundred?
859, I believe.
All right.
Pretty close to 1,000.
And what was the total for Avenged on Kappa Canopy?
Just near 1,000. I'm not
945, I think.
Ooh, you got some work to do, Quantum, before you're on Avenged level.
Yeah, I know.
We can't be as good as Avenged.
I unfortunately doubled my replays trying to reclaim record and just could not.
Sounds
get
like
it.
it too from your voice.
No, I missed a lot of really close ones. It's just how it goes, I'm afraid, on a level like that.
Yep.
It'd be.
But only SS is what counts. I need boss mode. Boss mode DPM, the invert here. This one's got some interesting differences in here. Let's see, 825 was the invert plus. I want to double check certain things before I open the replays. So 600 by Cool Gamer. Right on the cutoff for invert. So DPM again, you gotta spread dust per minute, so being fast and spreading a lot of dust is what's important. And we see here Cool Gamer spreading a lot of dust. And super is very helpful for that. Sometimes in levels like this you can get 2 supers, we'll see if that's what happens. If I had to guess, that's where we're going.
I would say with how much dust they're spreading. Yep.
Now, this might be perceived as a kind of more obvious route for just invert. But there's another route. Turns out you can just end the level early and get a decent super from underneath. So when I was figuring out the invert and invert plus times, I was considering that, you know, you still have to get a decent run doing this strat to get invert. Rodent showing the minimum nearly. So some people naturally push this harder than others. So on the leaderboard, you're gonna see some people go a lot faster, have faster runs. Looks like this is a good one to show. So Quantum Coral here gonna prove how possible it is to get invert plus from underneath. And that's not a hard super to hit. You know, super is a pretty big hitbox.
And my
what was the
very
challenge here?
limited testing here, I thought it was really close to do invert plus with that super, but I didn't really look too hard into it, unfortunately.
I think there's Steel Echo and Gunter on the challenge.
I think that's correct.
Alright. Gunter Dog, a bit of a specialist on boss mode. Gets to try it out every DLC too. But Steel Echo also more of a sleeper when it comes to activity in DLC, but really proven himself with many good invert grinds, many good invert pluses since DLC 6, I want to say. He really stepped up for 6. Maybe in 5. But Gunter Dog was not outdone as far as the challenge was concerned. And going against what I think normally is Gunter Dog's style, he decides to end it early. Usually what I've seen from these replays is, you know, spreading a lot of dust but still being really fast at it. Maso walking the start and a little in the middle. Gonna do a 2 super route, looks like, and be fast at it. Good ceiling boosts. Maso showed something like a 925 roughly when I asked for an example from the team, like, alright, where could invert plus be? I saw and I'm like, you know what, I don't actually expect people to do this. It's gonna be a hard level. I want invert plus to be, you know, attainable by more people. So Maso could be a pretty good boss DPM champ in the makings. Has done really well in the category. And I knew to make it a little easier than what he showed me. And then he surpassed it. Can't just make the invert pluses always around where the best runs are gonna end up.
There was a boss mode low percent challenge on Lavender as well.
Oh yeah. Was there anything else that I've missed? I know there's Lights Out. That's one of the other ones.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one, but that's the only one I remember that you missed.
That's Desert. Alright. So between DCBC and Mitesh, pretty new player, he had boss mode low percent. Very easy to mess up on boss mode, low percent as established in desert. Looks like there might have been like a little bit to save there, but DCBC had 2 of these challenges. One here and one on our next level, Moonsong. So, much like Fishy, was spread a bit too thin to defend them all. Ran out of time. Because it turned out Kappa Crew was going to grind at the end. They finally got their runs later on. And that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're not really available until the end.
Sometimes you just are a procrastinator, like me.
Definitely.
Sometimes you just choke all your runs until the last 3 minutes too, you know?
Yeah,
that can happen
relatable.
too.
Sometimes you just grind too much so that you don't get good times anymore.
Also true.
Looked like there was a handful of other dust that could have been saved, but very difficult kind of category on a difficult level for it.
No, yeah, I had sent Mitesh a replay for a 12 dust route after the initial DCBC bop. I'm not sure how much of that he ended up using, but he can definitely go low.
All right, we have Lights Out. This is a plugin that's kind of like Baby Blindfold. What I mean by that is here is what it looks like. The lights turn off. Lights off is the plugin. So you can only see your player, but you do see where they are on screen, and you can see the HUD information. Now, the challenge here between Miles and JVC was fastest BS on Lavender.
What a strangely specific run.
So that's what it looks like to the players, but we're not gonna bother with watching.
Cheat.
We're not gonna have the plugin on while watching these replays. You probably don't even know exactly what Miles did. So let's see what it looked like, without the plugin on. Miles doing his best to try to play the level.
Bro, what? How is he doing this with Lights Out plugin?
Well, you can see where you are on the camera, and there's a lot of cues.
We've certainly seen crazier runs in Blindfold, which is definitely just worse. So
Yeah, I was gonna say Miles is very good at Blindfold too.
yeah.
Yep. Well, let's see what JVC did without the lights off. With the lights still on. Now, JVC said earlier that he had an important message for Miles, telling exactly his strats, and how he decided to play the level. And to forward that on to Miles for a little closure, he said he was just trying to SS the level and go as fast as possible. And he was just gonna miss the dust along the way. As you see there, he tried to do the light and missed. He happens to hit most of this stuff, and then he didn't aim for that light, but we see a different assortment of dust collected and missed by the players here. BS is 80 to 90% of all dust in the level, so there's a bit of a range. So yeah.
The guy's just doing attacks that lose time. And actually might just make him fail the run as well, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah, if he got maybe one more dust, maybe that was an AS. I don't know. But it was a risk that they were willing to take. That's all for the normal leaderboards and their side categories. But we do have 4 bonus levels that had visible replays. There were some challenges on them. There were invert categories on each one. Since these had visible replays, we're not going to watch too much of them. We'll just watch the highlights. Moonsong in particular had a Big Diesel and Cow challenge. for Pogo any percent. So Pogo, how this plugin works, every time you land, you bounce off the ground a couple frames later based on how hard you hit the ground. So pretty cool. This was a very cool introductory plugin and a great climbing level to use it on, because it makes playing the level a bit harder. In order to get invert, I think it was 110, which was fairly lenient, one of the more lenient kind of inverts. So let's see what True Noob did. This map was made by Big Diesel originally, so we had to put him on the challenge. And this was for CMR 59, I think. I listed it in announcements.
Yeah, it uses an old version of the music script, so it actually just resets every time you start the level instead of looping.
Oh, this is before the persistent stream stuff, I see. That's interesting.
I don't know if it existed, but whatever script... This is before I was like actually scripting, so I just took whatever script was given to me. It might have been before we actually like had persistent streaming.
Maybe.
I'm guessing it was before.
This was one of the maps that put Big Diesel on the map, as far as map makers are
wow.
concerned.
I don't know if that...
This was one of your earlier maps.
Yeah, I think all the... This uses layer controller. All the clouds in the background are different layers. I'm not sure if we had sub-layer props, or I think we probably did.
We definitely did by here.
I just didn't know how to do sub-layer props, so they just have 4 colors of clouds on 4 different actual layers.
Yeah, but this was a good one to show in CMR, and a very fun one to revisit for DLC. Plus, a great Pogo kind of map turned out.
Yeah, no, this was a really, really fun invert. Highly recommend anybody that didn't do this one, check it out.
Let's skip over to some of these top runs.
So Fishy had the record on this for a while.
Yeah. This was a good run. So Pogo forces you to leave the ground right after you land. And if you're holding jump when you bounce, you get a little bit more height. Well, more than a little, it's about double. It's like a short hop compared to a full hop.
You do have to kind of go out of your way to get a little bit of dust on the way up, because if you just go as fast as you can, you probably won't have enough dust for the super.
Yeah. And Cow and Big Diesel are the 2 people that know that the most, having grinded it for their challenge.
Yeah, and definitely choked away some good runs to having like 97 dust at the end.
Let me put Fishy's ghost up there. Second try, Pogo.
Oh, good luck.
Door.
Wow, you did get that fast.
Me skipping over Moonsong.
Yep.
Finding a level is harder than getting the frame perfect.
Yeah.
Cal got this last night.
Quite a lead over Fishy.
Yeah, I think Cow's climb through like the first half of the level is like really good. I think Cow's
looks like it.
Probably loses time in this section to me and probably Fishy.
We'll get to see that how it plays out soon. Yeah, it takes a little roundabout path there. Fishy's gonna catch up a little. Will probably be on screen at the end, I guess.
I think Fishy does a faster like ending climb, but that ending climb is super obnoxious.
There he is.
Do not like that ending climb no matter what.
But beating out Cow by 0.4.
It was closer, and then at like the very last second, I got a faster one. Yeah, my start is just slower because I don't know. I just didn't want to grind the faster start.
Catching up.
Yeah, I assume I catch up in the middle here. Also, if anybody hasn't played Pogo, the too high little spaces are really weird.
Yep. Big Diesel defending his own level.
The fun one. If you haven't done the invert on that level, highly recommend. What's the invert plus? Is it 55 or is it just
55? Yeah.
It's actually pretty chill.
Yeah, I think it's
highly recommended for me.
This was one of
Big fan of
the
this one.
easier ones as well.
Yeah,
Good
I
intro
mean-
to messed up physics.
The world record is over 10 seconds faster, so definitely plenty. And you can see it was obviously not that good, so.
And all
definitely a lot
the
of-
visible replays can help you out.
Someone played Kid with the invert plus. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this basically just plays like a nice, worth climbing level, which usually feels good.
We had one more boss mode low percent on Moonsong as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
These people found out about boss low percent and really just went crazy with it.
Yeah. We got some bonus Pogo Ghosts. So a thing with boss mode low percent that you didn't see in Desert is that when you spread dust by hitting an enemy, that does not count towards the overall total. So you'll see an occasional attack on an enemy that doesn't count. You don't have to worry about it. And any like mansion dust that comes from that is not the slime dust. So it's a good representation of like what counts and what doesn't count.
That's cool.
Pretty convenient in this level. Was this the like 15-minute replay, by the way?
It was Cruel Gamers, that was the longer one, wasn't it?
I know he had a really long one at some point. I don't know if he managed to get a not really long one.
This one's 224.
Okay, yeah, that's not this one then.
Also in low percent categories, you're not punished by dying in the same way, so that dust doesn't count.
So he's resetting this section just to get the 4 dust spread. Oh, that's another death.
Yeah, getting 4 dust spread. There you go.
Yeah, visible replays is kind of wild.
It makes a lot of Atlas invert keys more attainable. So it's good to have like, you know, the variety. It's good to have some ones that you can just enjoy and not worry too much about, even if they're hard to execute. That's one of the strengths of the Atlas inverts. You can just revisit a level for fun.
It's brilliant dust placement by me. Just put dust on every block.
I don't know, Cruel Gamer might not agree with this death. But that's probably the last death on the song. I'm gonna speed things
Oh wow,
up a
it takes you all the way back there. I guess I was not thinking you would die in that section.
Yeah, look at all these checkpoints you got. You got one up there too.
Oh, okay. So you're just skipping one of my checkpoints. My hard place checkpoints.
The other thing to remember, though, about checkpoints is if you spawn on an unslimed block, that will contribute to the count.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying you should have taken the checkpoint. I'm just saying I did have more checkpoints than just. Oh
Alright,
my God.
the time does not show up as the same number on Dustkid. So
Okay.
I'm gonna watch
Is this-
DCDCs.
Yeah,
Is
this
this
might,
actually.
I wonder
This
if
might be the
is a
15-minute one.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, it shows up as
Yeah.
220 on Dustkid. I'm like, that's not 220 anymore. We are gonna speed it up a little though, because we have already seen most of the same strats. There's little differences though.
I was to say, I feel
Some
like
thinking face moments. Is this the right replay?
Okay.
I'm clicking on the links that I see. I'm just gonna ignore this, I guess. for this particular.
Cannot
one.
possibly be the record.
Are you clicking on the ones under best score?
Probably. That's probably what got linked.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You can see the low percent leaderboard in game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
all
clicking
over
on the links on something else.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
just linked
DCPC's
the wrong
score
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's fine.
Now let's watch the real fastest.
Let's see DCBC versus DCBC. Alright, that's better.
Yeah, this makes a lot more sense already.
Alright, good dust spread there.
Ooh, yeah. I think that they both did that.
Looks like there might also be a little to save. Not really sure.
Yeah, this one I didn't really dive
Doing the same
into.
strat.
Oh, resetting there. Whoa.
Resetting again. It's a long way.
Oh, taking a very roundabout reset.
And there, that's good. 2 there, but not good enough.
Being picky here. I like it. Do you need this big gargoyle to make the jump up to the butler without hitting the wall?
Well, you spread dust with the gargoyle. It doesn't matter if you get hit.
I thought there was already dust all underneath the butler.
No, this wall dust right here is being spread, and then DCBC is wall climbing on it. So he's saving 2 dusts by doing this.
I thought they were just jumping all the way to the top with the...
Oh, they're not just jumping.
I didn't even think they touched the wall, but maybe I'm lit.
Alright, being careful.
Okay, how does... Yeah, I kind of forgot you had to kill this thing.
You just don't want to create extra dust with these attacks. Especially that super...
Dude, if I played this, I 100% would have just super. I accidentally abandoned at least once. 100%.
Yeah, good job to the 1 dust win.
Now I kind of want to try like actual low percent on this just to see if you can lure that knight all the way.
Oh, that. Maybe. I don't know how you do it without spreading at least the dust, but.
Well, it might. I mean, if you can spread like 1 dust and lure the knight off, it's gonna be better than killing the knight.
That's that one. There's a little bit more to show in Pogo if you guys check out some of the replays. Definitely a lot more strat variety. But if you didn't try it yet, you might as well have fun with it, like Big Diesel said. Like with all of the other keys, so if you were unaware, all of the keys are still available. They don't count for round 1 points anymore, but at any time during the DLC, while it's active, you can still earn keys. So you can go back and still get that red key or invert plus if you really want. If you want to go back to a level and get silver or something, you know, feel right ahead. Feel free, go right ahead. Mix those 2 ideas together. If you really want to go back to Smalley Way, go right ahead.
Yeah, Smalley Way.
So Smalley Way, the plugin here was No Heavy, which unfortunately for Heavy was the first thing that he was introduced to this DLC. You got to experience the wonders of Smalley Way. I got a kick out of you know, seeing the struggle in a bunch of channels. This is one of the earlier kinds of runs, showing that, you know, it's kind of annoying to hit all this stuff. This is after you know, many minutes of being wailed on by trash bags. Things do not normally start off this easily. They normally start off with getting destroyed by trash. required for invert was a 15-second SS. Or was it 12?
Oh, for invert. Let me check.
I thought invert was just like 15.
It was 15.
Yes.
Lots of lights coming out from Goose.
Oh, just barely getting it.
Yep. One more light wouldn't have worked out. Let's see what Heavy ended up with. Something fun about Smallyway that some people got to learn is also that, fun fact, this middle turkey here, not attached to the end trigger, that's true in the original Alleyway too. This was a faithful representation of the original Alleyway by Camel. And you can see the original Alleyway on the left here for reference. Looks a little bit bigger. Now there's a book there. Let's watch a little more Smallyway. Air Bear with 10 flat. I think No Face was the first person to get invert plus on this level. That is true. And as a result, was the probably most copied run. A lot of strats look kind of like this. You go across, push things to the side, try to hit this trash can into the ceiling so that it doesn't go too far away, like what was happening earlier. But a few people just kept going, as you do. Push you with some different strats. Lots of uplights at the end. But Magma Peach grinding very hard. Kept going at the level. Pushed the route to the limits.
I think we've had this really early too. This was like a week ago.
Yep.
Like, this was so early in this DLC week.
Here it is one more time. Now, funnily enough, if Magma Peach were to have done this on the original Smallyway level, then it would actually be in 3rd place. But instead, for some reason, Lotus decided to grind the original level and uses some heavies, showing that Dustman advantage with those big attacks that do so much more damage.
Strong character.
Yep. But we had to do Worth no heavy because Worth has really slow lights, and we had to enjoy it. We don't have the luxury of heavy attacks or that man character. Now, just not to show off, but this is the replay that I was linked. We do have a run from the original Alleyway, just so that you guys can feel like this is way too big all of a sudden. You know, using up the whole screen, that camera's just so zoomed out.
This alleyway isn't real.
I don't know if what you guys think about this level, but everything's just so far away from each other. I'm starting to think that less enemies is a better idea. So yeah, never forget Alleyway's also a map, I guess. Or I guess feel free to forget and prefer Camel's Smalley Way, which was originally made for a blind relay blitz, and people had to play Kid on it. Next we have our CMP representative, and it was No Direction. This was one of the bounty levels, and the category here was No Direction. This was dominated by Chipotle. Nighthawk got the first invert. All that was needed for an invert was SS, No Directions of course. And there are a couple tricky things required to do this. You know, you gotta get enough height for that turkey. You gotta hit this and then be like, well, hold on. I gotta go back, by the way. What do I do now? Nighthawk splitting up the dust requirement. Not leaving, or leaving some dust for the way back. And Nighthawk got this just before Camel got his invert as well. Gotta hit that dead leg on the top left there. And getting the first No Direction SS. Camel got his run right after. And it'd be a while before we ended up getting a No Direction invert plus. And you gotta do some faster strats for that. You guys probably have already seen some of the results, so I'm not gonna show all the stuff. But you can hit that turkey and also land on the left side of the slope. Kind of challenging. Technically not required for the sub 40, but would be difficult either way. Camel doing that the same way as Nighthawk. Changing the jump pattern compared to Nighthawk, and also got a super. Fishy got his low direction run 30 seconds after Camel got his, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna double check the time stamps. Winning by 36 seconds. So Camel won the invert plus bounty 36 seconds before Fishy got this run. And this is also Fishy coming off of winning the fast invert bounty and changing levels. So Fishy gave a handicap to Camel, but it was too much. Fishy getting a lot of bounty points for the first two bounties. With a slightly faster run. 4 hours ago, we have the low direction record by Idle. This must have been one of the last invert pluses achieved by Idle. I know there was a grind. During the bounties, Idle was focused on fast and ended up getting the invert plus for the fast bounty third. Which is also the next thing we're gonna watch. No challenges on Meander, but nice to have the CMP representation. No Direction was one of the least commonly achieved inverts. Turns out people prefer the plugins when it comes to inverts somehow. But also,
you
no
were even
direction's
allowed
kinda
to use
tough.
Worth on this one.
Definitely encouraged to use Worth on this one. Worth is usually the low direction character of choice. Our final map, Shizen 01. One of, I think, 4 maps in this series by Verador. Last DLC I tried to get a fast level from Verador because of the cool little loopy style that you see in the gameplay of Verador maps. You know, it's just great for fast, you know? But you know what normally isn't great for fast? Fast SS. But it turns out that was not that bad of a decision on this level. Even though it was very difficult and you know, something that was one of the hardest inverts and invert pluses. I think this one had the least invert pluses. And it was also a difficult bounty because of that. The invert plus bounty of this ran just into the time that desert bounty was revealed. There were 11 people that got invert plus on fast. Desert had 15 invert pluses. Stormful Harmony had 18. Lavender had 18. And Meander had 13. So Meander and Fast SS, No Direction and Fast SS being the hardest ones this time around. Understandably, because they were also the bounties. So naturally, in order to get an invert plus, you had to go fast. So sub 12 was the goal time. Maybe it should have been a little easier. I don't know. Oh well. We're past that now. We have mostly kid representation for that extra air charge, but some man players. A lot of people using that super like that. But fast gets pretty unwieldy. Let's see some of the top ones. Camel got this one yesterday. This was the final invert plus achieved by Camel. It was a tough one. Got a good boost at the end. Ended up in second. And we had a fast any percent challenge here. The top 4 players. Now the interesting thing about any percent here is you need to collect enough dust to get that super. And we were thinking about this as a normal category. That's one of the reasons why the map was considered. But we decided SS was the way to go for once for fast. And by the way, Ukkies is the main other person coming up with the bounties for inverts. Not active this DLC, but Ukkies and I are the ones timing the bounties. I unfortunately don't have a replay from Ukkies showing what he would have gotten, but he was also in the mid 11s. And he used man, and a pretty different strat, actually. So maybe he'll do it later. True noob representing man. But Weejo, known fast enjoyer. edging it out by a handful of frames. Close challenge.
Like, Noob was trying for this for like most of the round too. A lot of time dedicated to this, but it is just a hard thing to do.
Do we have a replay of the strat Noob was going for and never got?
No, I don't believe so. 'Cause I posted it as a video linked to not expose any strats.
I saw
It's
one
probably
that was
expired
a little slower, I think.
Yeah.
But you guys can post that in DLC Journal if you want.
Yeah, I guess it's safe to leak now.
Yep.
Either way.
Alright. Nice, cool recap stream achieved. That's all of the levels for round 1 all wrapped up. Round 1 taken care of for now. Team Chipotle in the lead, but perhaps not for long. They ended up doing well on keys and challenges, but will they do it that well again? I don't know. So we're gonna have a 4-day break until the next maps are out. So on Thursday, round 2 begins. But that does also mean that within a small amount of time, I'll actually be starting the next map making threads in each of your channels. So we're done playing the maps, but guess what? It's time to make maps again. And I'll have some news for you about that pretty soon. This is the final reminder to fill out the map poll. So if you haven't done that, I think that should be pinned right now. But if you don't have the link, there it is in chat. Thanks, Arb. Do the map form. I will show the results of that on stream pretty soon. So do it right now if you haven't. Now, there is going to be a special theme for the maps for round 2. There was intentionally no theme for round 1 because I am not going to use this theme all DLC. But there is a bit of a recurring theme that is going to be ongoing for the rest of DLC. That is hinted at a little bit with MapRef and Nieto Techniche. And that theme is remixes. So you're gonna find that all of the pre-made maps, with the exception of the long map, in this case, are gonna be remixes of existing maps from Atlas. So I said that MapRef was based on Ibitsu. Nieto Techniche, obviously a remix of the original Techniche, as I showed. I'll show Ibitsu as well. So here's where MapRef came from. Started with a V-ceiling, a bit of a ramen, but some similar gameplay. Just tighten things up a bit. There you go. A little bit less spikes.
Well,
No
this is
spikes for
actually
round
extremely similar.
Yeah. And a 13.3 time. So there's a little bit of a fun fact for the maps that are going to be for DLC 7. You'll see what we have cooking for our remaining maps soon enough. But since I've said this theme, that is going to be the theme that I will be posting in each of your map channels. I will be assigning each of you characters again. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. I don't have it in front of me. So I'm gonna have to look that up. But the theme is remixes. You are allowed to remix, and I'm also requiring this. You must use one map from any one of your players on your team Atlas accounts. So the map that you're remixing must fit the guidelines, similar to as established already. So, you know, it has to be pretty short. It has to fit the character, but it has to be based on a map that someone on your team uploaded in the first place. You guys have a bit of time to decide what map you're gonna do. If that ends up being a little mini supremely difficult, you know, go right ahead.
Yeah.
We're also opening the spikes back up to be there, but I'm very strict when it comes to please do not have dwarfs in your level. So I will just strictly veto if you use spikes poorly. So spikes allowed again. But honestly, if you want to take my advice, don't even bother with spikes, and then I don't have to bother checking for dwarfs. You know, take a hard map, shorten it, remix it, take out the spikes, and then we'll have a cool level like Techniche again. That is my recommendation for what you can do with this theme. I will reiterate this in your team threads within about a half hour to an hour. I'll post those and then you can get started. But, you know, feel free to start thinking about what map you might want to remix, because I got some remixes on the way. And it has to be something that someone on your team originally made. And now's where you should have drafted Slish.
He may still yet be among us. We do not know.
Or Naglaria. Or Verador. Should have had all those cool map makers. Maybe we did. Alright, so let's check out these map poll results. Alright, I got a lot of responses. I got 45 responses. Let me check real quick what's going on. Alright, we'll see it live. So, 45 responses. We got a variety of spellings of team names. We got Chipotle, 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 Kappa, Kappa Crew. Kappa Crew with the most consistent naming. So shoutouts to you guys.
Hey.
Wildlife Wranglers, 4 people decided to spell it the same way. So we got a reasonable spread of results here. I'm going to have this posted later on as well. This should now be public. Rate the map gameplay. We always have a variety of people that have varying opinions when it comes to maps. Some people like to hate on the levels when they get the chance. So there are some ones that occasionally come out. But most of the time we get a lot of 4s. You know, just keep it nice and normal with a lot of 4s and 3s. And sometimes the 5s are coming out too. So it looks like the 2 favorites were Desert and Techniche. But they're not without their haters. Somehow catching strays from the crowd. Map ref, not as fun to grind. Those tough keys, unfortunately. You know, sometimes they all those haters flock to a level, even though, yeah, it's a really good level.
Yeah, it's crazy that Mabref got more 1s than Kappa. That's hard.
Yeah, Kappa catching the hate too. But not Rubble Boost. Rubble Boost, somehow the only map dodging the 1s. Got a lot of 4s. So good job, Rubble Boost. No haters. Most maps getting 5s. All maps getting at least 1 5. So that's cool to see. So yeah, I'll have more detailed stats later, but you know, this is the spread of votes. I tend to release full stats when DLC's over, and I mean, this will be public. It is already, but I'll post it in DLC info after the recap. Best team map goes to Lavender. That's a favorite. I skipped best aesthetic. Close win for Desert over Lavender. They went back and forth a little. Got some map ref love, and some people preferred their own team map, perhaps. When it comes to the rest of them. So 16-15 for aesthetic. Team map Lavender. The V-Ceiling guys spent a long time working on Lavender when there weren't any levels to play. We'll see if they can keep up that enthusiasm with all of their map creators. We'll see what they remix. Votes for everybody though. Favorite Atlas map, Moonsong. Slight majority. You know, just over the 50%. But everybody has a piece of the pie. Favorite invert key, looks like we have representation across the board. Yeah, there's a vote for everybody in here. Somehow. There are 8 people that hate fun and invert keys. But Pogo is at least as good as that. So, you guys that hate fun, maybe you should try it out sometime. You know, just give it a try. The invert keys are just for fun. Just try them out. I'm sure you can have fun with some little category. But they're not for everybody. And they are very different styles from each other as well. So that's why it's so spread out. There's no clear winner for favorite invert key. A lot of Stuck fans. Stuck was in the lead earlier, but Pogo won out over it. A lot of Fast fans. There's also a lot of overlap between people that voted for specific invert keys and their favorite Atlas map. We had some map feedback. Some people like the maps. Some people doesn't know what Atlas maps are. So unfortunate that you know, some people still don't know. We have all kinds of responses in the map feedback. Some people want to complain about the levels. You know, team maps are kind of grindy. That is kind of the point with short levels. That's why the keys are like that. But, you know, you can play what you want. There's stop at a key if you want. But yeah, Lavender, tough to learn. It takes a lot of effort to play levels like that. They tend to be harder to play in a DLC setting. So you don't see much of them being popular in DLC. That's just the way it is. The shorter levels tend to be the ones grinded the most, even if some people didn't care for the grind itself. People tend to play those levels the most regardless.
Yo, shoutouts to the Kappa Canopy defender in that in that bottom comment.
Kappa Canopy is a good map. You guys just need to get good.
Hard disagree.
But we have quite a variety. We have Kappa Canopy Blows Major. It was pretty fun. Fast and Stuck made me sad. Kappa Canopy jank, by the way. Some inverts very rough. Yeah, some are tough. They're not all gonna be easy.
Needed
They're achievements.
a few small changes.
Fast too hard. It was the hardest. We gotta have some hard stuff.
That feels like a cow comment.
Someone hates bounties. Bounties again, you know. Essentially all bounties are just challenges between all the teams. They even get scored exactly the same as challenges, except for the one big one. You know, the bounty on the big level. It just happens to be worth a few more points. So bounties are just challenges to earn the invert first and the invert plus. So it's good to have everybody around for something like that. We've been trying to do something like that in DLC for quite a while. But not for everybody. You know, everything in DLC, not for everybody. Some people don't like keys. But we've been doing it the same way for a while now. But yeah, good maps. Let's try to keep that up for round 2. You guys are able to think about what maps you want to make. So hopefully that goes well for round 2. Hopefully people learned from the maps that they didn't enjoy and decide to not put that in their next maps. Or maybe someone's going to be like, you know what? We need a combat level. It's time. It'll probably happen.
Yeah, it's just Smalley Way 2. Someone did mention Smaller Way in chat when you said remixes, so
Oh yeah.
you know.
Well, that would be a
Smaller
Chipotle
Way.
one if it happened because it was uploaded by Camel. And like I said, I don't remember the character requirements off the top of my head, but I will post that for you guys within a half hour. I gotta sort all the other stuff. But don't worry, I'm pretty strict on combat levels in DLC. We'll probably have some combat representation, but you know, it's not gonna be too crazy. Those tend to be much harder and more avoided than Lavender, which is basically a dust combat level if you think about it.
Yep.
But more linear. I think that's where we're at though. Enjoy your 4 days off, but try to make a ramen within that time, because I will be looking for drafts on Wednesday. Do we have any Dust Force streamers I can raid? No one right now. Anyone want to stream and get a little raid?
Yeah, now's your chance to get 31 viewers.
Until
Anyone
they
with
go
functioning
away.
hands?
Nah, I'm good.
You don't wanna SS the alpha now, Avenged?
No, I want No Face to do that.
But yeah, you
true.
can take a break from Dust Force, just play something else.
I want to suggest some maps for our team to go make into a better map.
Yeah, like Attacky 1 or 2 or 3.
I'm thinking not Attacky 2 would be really funny to release as Attacky 2.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. If I had to predict, I think this is the round that you'd make an Attacky.
Yeah, it would certainly make a lot more sense than remixing Supremely Difficult, so...
Yeah, Attacky or not Attacky 2 is my suggestion. What even was the Attacky last DLC? I don't even remember. Oh, it was Attackypolis. That was right. Yeah.
Alright, who wants the free raid? Is it Camel Raid time? The classic yearly Camel Raid? He's not around right now.
The empty Camel Raid, let's go!
Classic.
Gotta start off with some memes. Everybody go follow Camel, and then he'll go live again one day.